A regular meeting of the City Council was held in Council Chamber on Thursday, September 27th, 2018 at 7 p.m. for the purpose of transacting any and all business. Notice of this meeting was posted on September 25th, 2018 at 10 a.m. This meeting is being taped and is live on SATV. We have no councilors absent, and Council President Gerard, that's me, is presiding. Councilor Fury moved to dispense with the reading of the record of the previous meeting. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. And I request that everyone rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilor Dominguez.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get to yes, Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, I'd ask for a suspension of the rules in order to swear in our two new assistant city clerks.
Seeing no objection, Madam City Clerk, would you like to take over here?
I'd like to say a little bit something before we do the swearing-in ceremony. When appointed city clerk on June 24th, 3 months ago, I remembered saying how much I looked forward to the future of this office, not only by remembering the past, but by moving forward to the future, and also promising to demonstrate to everyone their faith and trust in me by my actions and performance. So far, many of the goals I had set have been accomplished or have been set in motion, such as customers' ability to purchase and pay for vital records online or at the counter, thanks Janet, conducting an interactive poll worker training, which I believe led to a very successful September election, working with different organizations, including the Civic Engagement Office at Salem State, the Women League of Voters, and the Latino Coalition to create positive and collaborative efforts and experiences, and to introduce to the voters during early voting electronic poll pads to expedite and ease the check-in process. So I hope you all come and check that out. Another very important goal was to maintain the stability of our staff and to continue to make the city clerk's office even more professional and efficient. In order to do that, I know I had to hire an assistant city clerk. After posting the job and conducting many interviews, I am happy to say that I did not need to look any further than our own backyard. I have not only selected one, but two assistants. They are Rochelle Sport and Maureen Fisher. Both of these women have always demonstrated a strong work ethic, dedication, and loyalty to this office. They have both stepped up and pitched in during the last 6 months since Cheryl retired and I was assuming both job duties. Rochelle Sport was hired by Debbie Birkinshaw to work part-time in the city clerk's vital records room in September of 2000. Rochelle then became full-time in 2002 as a senior clerk in the elections office, and in July of 2004 moved up to the elections assistant's position. Now, I have the pleasure to promote Rochelle as the Assistant City Clerk of Elections. Her knowledge of the local, state, and federal election laws, the voting equipment, and her positive working relationships with the poll workers and voters are a tremendous benefit to our office. Before Maureen Fisher began working for the City Clerk's office, she worked for many years on Election Day as the ward of the Ward 2 Precinct 2. In 2012, Cheryl LaPointe hired Maureen full-time in the City Clerk's Vital Records Room as a senior clerk. In 2013, Maureen became an assistant registrar in the elections office. And now, Maureen has taken on the responsibilities of assistant city clerk for the council. They both have the ability to immediately transfer their job skills and institutional knowledge, which will allow our office to continue to operate without interruption. Rochelle and Maureen's knowledge of vital records and elections will be very beneficial as they assume their new roles. I am confident that they will both be great assets to this office, to this council, and to the residents of the city of Salem now and in the future. I'll now ask Rochelle and Maureen to step forward to be sworn in. Both raise your right hand, please repeat after me, and where I say I state your name. I,
Lauren Elizabeth Fisher,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as Assistant City Clerk, acting to the best of my ability and understanding, agreeably with the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and the Charter and ordinances of the City of Salem, so help me God. I,
Maureen Fisher,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, so help me God. Congratulations.
Madam President.
Yes, Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. Before I ask for a recess to allow them to sign the books before we...
women, girls.
First, I want to recognize the families of these two lovely ladies who I've got to know over the last many years. Rochelle, from when my wife first introduced me to her when I went into the elections office. Rochelle was a Gables kid from back in the day down on Derby Street. And my wife had her in after-school programs and everything, which I have pictures of her in pigtails. And I know her mother is extremely proud right now. And for Maureen, I just want to say, look right up there, because I was at Bertini's on Saturday night for someone's birthday party, and we ran into your daughter. And somehow she's got the television over the bar at Bertini's on this right now, because her work ethic said she couldn't take the time off of work, but she wanted to be here and she wanted you to know that, and she wanted me to embarrass you tonight. So I don't know where that came from. So yeah, you needed that. But to you and your family, congratulations. Ask for a 1-minute recess.
Certainly. Councilor Fury, before the recess?
Tonight is a real night of celebration for the whole city of Salem. Celebration of family, friends, tradition. And the second oldest active city hall in the country, St. Petersburg is the oldest one, St. Augustine, pardon me. Here we are, celebrate Josephine Bushko Council Conference Room, after a previous city clerk that I served under. Room number 1, as we go downstairs, as you come into the city hall, is named after our last city councilor, Debbie Birkinshaw. She was number 1 to all of us in our hearts, so we named the room number 1, Debbie Birkinshaw. Cheryl LaPointe served so many good years. Eileen, now Rochelle and Maureen, the best of Salem. All love Salem, live in Salem, their families, education, what it's all about. In the second oldest active city hall, Salem recognizes and respects the role and responsibility of the city clerk. It's the heartbeat, it's the center of City Hall. It's where you go first. And what these people bring is a smile, public service. Public service is a high calling. I love it myself, and all of us wouldn't be here if we didn't want to serve in public service. They are the best and the brightest, and I love being your city councilor, and I love to go into the city clerk's office and the elections office with a smile, the warmth, the best of Salem. And Eileen? Okay. Eileen, you picked the best. Could you introduce the rest of your staff, please?
Sure. We have Lily Beth Tejeda, who's in our Vital Records office, as well as Janet Emmons is in our Vital Records office. And we have Julia Mota, who is in our elections office. So that's our staff.
Okay. 1-minute recess? Okay. Need someone to...
So moved.
Thank you, Councilor Terrell. So now we have public testimony. We have 19 people signed up to speak for 15 minutes. So if there's someone that speaks before you that covers what you want to get covered, if you want to just pass, that may help move things along. And so just so everyone knows, you're going to have 1 minute to speak. Maureen is going to have a little red sign, I believe, that says 10 seconds left, and then sit down. And then
One will do.
you're gonna be fine. Don't worry. And then after that, we're Then once her alarm goes off, then I'm going to gavel and we're going to have to move everybody along because we have, as I said, we have 19 people for 15 minutes. So please be brief. We're going to, like I said, we're just going to give everyone 1 minute. Okay, so first we have Gary Gill, who I don't see. Okay, that was quick. Next we have James Turner.
Actually, that's me.
Paula.
No,
Paula back.
Kathy Turner.
Kathy Turner.
Speaking on
Okay.
behalf of Turners.
Got it. And so then name and address for the record.
Okay.
And I thought you looked familiar because I love your restaurant. So name and address for the record, and then you'll address everything through me. And as you know, it's not a question and answer time. It's just providing your public testimony.
Great.
Great.
My name is
Time
Kathy
start.
Turner. I'm one of the owners of Turner Seafoods. We're at 43 Church Street, right across. I am here to adamantly oppose the proposal of placing the carnival on Washington and Federal Street. Turner's opposes this relocation as it will have a significant and unrecoupable impact on our business in the 2 most important weeks of the year. We will be the most negatively impacted business in Salem because of this proposal, not only because of traffic, but because of also the different customer base that it brings to this area of the city. This is a proposal, it's a sad state of affairs that it comes upon us. It happened that we found out about this from a community meeting and no one even approached us about it. When we're year-round annual supporters of the city, and all of a sudden 2 days before it's supposed to be acted on, it's shown that there's going to be a carnival basically right on top of us. Our guests consistently say that they come in October to us to get out of the fray of the carnival. They come actually to have a nice dinner and to have a nice quiet space to be where they're not. And this place is a
I'm so
carnival
sorry.
right on top of us, yes.
Sorry.
And so we
Okay, sorry.
adamantly
We've gotta-
oppose this
Got
unnecessary
it.
and short-sighted
Thank you.
decision.
Next we have Charles Heaps.
Thank you, Charles Heaps, 10 William Street, Salem. I just wanted to oppose the idea of an amendment to the ordinance to allow carnival on the common. We had a meeting recently in the Hawthorne Hotel where there was very strong neighbourhood opinion against the idea of having a carnival on the common. So I'm frankly a bit shocked that this idea would be put forward now, and particularly that it would come from the councillor from the ward responsible for the common, given that she must have heard the very strong opinions against it. I think it's very clear, in my opinion and in the opinion of many people I've talked to, neighbours, people at the Salem Common Condominium Association, they feel that Halloween has become big enough already. I want to live in Salem. I don't want to live in Las Vegas. I don't want to have, if we want to have a very large event, it should be organised somewhere out of town, not in a neighbourhood area, which is going to cause a lot of problems. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next we have John Carr.
Hi, my name is John Carr. I live at 7 River Street, Salem, Mass. with my wife. We've resided there since 1973. I have a law office at 9 North Street. I am opposed to the carnival on the Common. I served on the Historic Commission for 25 years, including from its inception. I was responsible for all of the historic districts that had been created in Salem, and there hasn't been a historic district created since I left the commission. You know, I'm holding in my hands a booklet which has 57 pages of activities that this city provides for visitors. Surely we have done enough. For most of my lifelong residency in Salem, and Councilor Inferi and I are exactly, we were born the same year, there hasn't been a carnival, and yet somehow, some way, Salem has survived without financial
Sorry.
ruin.
Thank
So,
you.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Next we have Carol Carr.
Carol Carr, 7 River Street. I'm going to read mine really fast. Over 35 restaurants are located in Salem. Over 60 scheduled events in Salem are listed in the Haunted Happenings calendar, printed in the Salem News' North Shore in Fall edition. The 2018 City Guide and Map of Salem has over 50 pages of things that Salem offers. Isn't that enough? Does Salem really need to continue with the carnival? Trying to fit this carnival in the downtown is unnecessary. Millions of dollars have been invested in the courthouses on Federal Street. Do we really want to attract partygoers to that location? Salem has grown tremendously over the last 10 years, and perhaps it's time to realize that it has outgrown the need for a carnival in any location. Would you want a carnival in your backyard or front yard? As far as a change in the ordinance regarding mechanical rides, the councilors have too many serious issues on their plate as it is. Revisiting this issue for a permit every year is not a good use of their time. Therefore, the ordinance should remain as is. Also, there is no reason why it needs to be changed right now. What's the big
Thank you,
rush?
Carol.
What's the big rush?
Thanks. Thank you. Next, we have Scott Sternberg.
Scott Sternberg, 25 Pickman Road. Thank you for the opportunity. Article 1 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in the UN, all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. The United States pulled out of the Human Rights Commission in the UN. There's now a ballot question to pull back transgender protections in Massachusetts. We have an opportunity here to be even prouder of the work when the resolution demanding all human rights here be protected by restating the resolution, ensuring transgender rights in Salem. Everyone's here for a lot of important reasons. This is the only one that has the most importance: human rights. First, they came for the socialists, and I didn't speak out because I was not a socialist.
Thank you, Scott. I'm sorry. Thank you. Next, we have Jeff Cohen.
Jeff Cohen, 12 Hancock Street. Please pass the short-term rental ordinance as is. Councilor Joe O'Keefe was liaison to the No Place for Hate Committee, and in 2014, he helped the committee and this city council pass the non-discrimination ordinance unanimously. We were the fifth community in Massachusetts, the first one on the North Shore. As a member of the board of Project Out, which helps trans and binary people transition, with healthcare, IDs, etc., it took too long for this state to adopt the protections. We can't allow people to take them away. Thank you to Councilor Josh Turiel for submitting the resolution.
Thank you. Next, we have Steve Pelletier.
My name is Steve Pelletier. I live at 1 Washington Street in Salem, and I am adamantly opposed to the proposal for the carnival. And my reasons are, quickly, I think that putting a carnival basically on the main artery in town is detrimental to the operation of the businesses there, who pay a very, very large amount of taxes to the city, much more than I think what the carnival is going to generate. And I think you have to have some consideration for those businesses in the sense that this is their time. I mean, Salem, October is like when they make it or break it. Okay. Secondly, I'm also a resident, and the impact of noise and what have you, just transportation and the noise level. I already live listening to noise every day.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Jenny Piver? Pever? I'm sorry about that.
Hi, I'm Jenny Pivor, and I live at 28C Federal Street. I am here to oppose the carnival, which I just found out about 2 days ago, and I moved here in March of this year, and I have lived in the North Shore before, and I came to Salem because I always thought it was a lovely seaside town, and I have experienced Halloween here, so I'm under no fantasy that it's going to be a calm time here for sure. But I was horrified to find out that it was going to be literally in my backyard, and I understand that the businesses are upset, and the residents are also taxpayers, and it is what is proposed is exactly in my backyard, and I and some of my neighbors go to bed, early-ish and don't really want to have a carnival going on back there. It's going to be bad enough as it is. So I'd appreciate your consideration.
Next, we have Scott Sheehan.
Good evening. My name is Scott Sheehan at 39 Harbor Street. The path towards equal protection and civil rights goes back and forth, but it always goes upward. In 2008, I married my partner of 10 years in California, only to have the voters take it away 3 days later. But 10 years later, we've solidified that right. I appreciate the council's consideration to take a stand on this measure, and I know you represent constituents that may have different opinions, but sometimes you have to be a leader and pull your constituents along. When you consider this, when you want to take away someone's right, I think you should apply very strict scrutiny, because if they can take away my right, they can take away yours. So I appreciate the consideration and support passage of the resolution.
Thank you. Next, we have Farrah Wolfson.
Farrah Wolfson, 25 Pickman Road. This is not about bathrooms. That is a crock and a shameful distortion of the truth. Madam President, I am a teacher, and every day we start the day with the pledge at school. This meeting also begins with the pledge, with liberty and justice for all. I ask that we consider whether or not it is hypocritical to pledge an oath, to make an oath, a promise, and not openly endorse yes on 3. Say you are in favor, show you are in favor, look at the statistics. Too many transgender people are being murdered on U.S. soil. I stand here as someone who has lost too many LGBTQ friends to suicide. What you say and do could save a life. Think about it. It is in your power to save a life. And I have faith that you believe those words you say. If not, let's consider whether the meeting should start that way.
Thank you. Next, we have Flora Tontat.
Flora Tontat, 30 Northeast Street. Real quick, I just want to thank you for the resolution to support and defend the transgender rights, and I fully support that, and I thank you and appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Jan Stouffer.
I'm Jane Stoffer. I'm a condo owner at 1 Washington Street. I oppose the carnival being placed on Upper Washington and Federal Street. The condo owners at 1 Washington Street are longtime Salem residents, and in my case, a lifelong Salem resident. Most are seniors, and some are home most of the time. It's unfair to ask us to put up with the lights, the noise, the music, the generator fumes, and the congestion for 3 weeks. This is going to go on day and night, from what I understand. I also understand it's being done to improve safety. Even taking that into consideration, it's still in the wrong location.
Thank you. Next, we have Dawn C. Stone.
Hello, I'm Don Stone. I live at 1 Washington Street. I'm a retiree, and I think this is not a good idea to have a carnival in our backyard.
Thank you. Next, we have Steve Bisson. I got that one.
I am Steve Bisson, 1 Washington Street, Salem, Church Court Condos. I'm a trustee and owner of 18 years in Salem. I definitely oppose the proposal for the carnival at the corner of Washington and Federal. It seems like this is being rushed at the very last minute, and there's been no neighborhood involvement at all from our ward councilor until the very last second. So I hope you will all oppose this. It's going to create excessive noise, more people. There's already a ton of people who come off the commuter rail train to attend Halloween activities. This will only add to it in the traffic nightmare that's Salem around Halloween. So I definitely oppose it, and I hope the councilors will also. Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me. Next, we have Jane Arlander.
Good evening, Jane Arlander, 93 Federal Street, 10th generation Salemite, born in Salem. And I'm here tonight to oppose locating the carnival at the Federal and Washington Street site, and also any amendment to the carnival rides down at the Common. I understand that most Salemites and people that live here and also that work here are inconvenienced during the month of October. We're willing to take a little hardship. As well, we enjoy showing our city off to the people that come from all over the world. That being said, the downtown and abutting downtown residential neighborhoods shoulder the brunt of the negative impacts of Halloween. And for this reason, I don't think that any downtown neighborhood or business district should put up with a carnival. It's just unfair. I also feel that the city of Salem should be ashamed of itself. In the past month or so, the city has attempted to put the carnival at 3 different downtown residential areas.
Thank you.
A shame.
Thank you. Next we have Claire, whose last name begins with a K?
Yes, Kalullis.
That's it.
Hi there, and councilors, thank you. President Claire Kalullis, the Hawthorne Hotel. I represent the Hawthorne Hotel and Michael J. Harrington. We are against any amendment that would change the ordinance for the Salem Common to have a carnival there. We schedule events throughout the year at the ballroom for weddings and high-end events, and I do think it's due process for clients to be able to choose ahead of time if they want to book with us with the consideration there is a carnival. So if there is an ordinance change, we would need to alert our clients and our guests to know that before they book events. So that is the reason why we are against it. And also with the potential $30,000 of revenue, please consider that the Hawthorne Hotel, combined with property taxes and motel taxes, is about $500,000 given to the city of Salem. And just for the record, I am from Salem, born and raised, as well as our owner. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dick Roderick. Nope, passing. Okay, thank you, sir. And finally, we have Tyler Terry. And Tyler's passing. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone, for your testimony. Let's go right into hearings.
We have an order from National Grid to install a conduit on Dodge Street.
Councilor Terrell? I'm sorry?
Are they here?
Yep, okay, so, yep, someone from, I'm sorry, so appearing in favor from National Grid, I know Sabita was here. There's Sabita.
Sabita Mahaber, representing National Grid, 44 River Street, Beverly, Massachusetts. This is to provide eventually permanent service to the location of 219 Washington Street and 11 and 13 Dodge.
Thank you. Anyone else appearing in favor? Anyone appearing opposed? Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. Just one question on this. Are we looking, what kind of timetable are they looking at to put the conduit in?
They were hoping to do it in July.
Ah, yes, and they just did the groundbreaking stuff. So my only concern is that they, if they can't do it basically in the next few days, I want to not do that work, or at least not do that work on a weekday until after November 1st, when the season is closed, because that's a fairly valuable through street during October.
Okay.
That's my only issue, so.
Okay. Anyone else in opposed? Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President. On your work, the work is doing this. Is there replacement work is doing this from people that have been locked out or?
This is
like
the
that?
electric side, not
So it has
gas.
nothing to do with that?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion from councilors? Seeing none. Councilor Terrio?
Thank you, Madam President. Move that the hearing be closed.
Councilor Terrio moves that the hearing be closed.
I just make one comment.
Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. It's, I know it's the electric side, but with all that's going on with National Grid, and especially what happened up in Lawrence, it's the same company. And,
No, it's totally different.
Supposed to not both
Columbia
National
Gas.
Grid?
Columbia Gas is out of Midwest, and it's...
I know, but to say with those kind of things, it's not, all right, I know that's not the same company, but National Grid has its workers locked out, and I'm worried about that kind of thing happening. Let me phrase it that way. Because National Grid Electric and National Grid Gas are the same company, right? Same parent company.
National Grid is a holding company. The gas company is
Right.
one company, and
I know when I
electric
call
is
about my
another.
bill, they ask me if I want to do gas or electric. So I know they're tied together. And I used to work at the power plant, but I don't anymore. And the type of thing that happened, you know, in Lawrence is, you know, we can't even begin to imagine how bad it is, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody. And if workers were on strike at National Grid, I wouldn't say so much, but they've been locked out. They came to work and they were locked out, and most people see that as being on strike. They were told to go home, not negotiate. And, you know, as this moves on, I'm going to be voting against National Grid unless you can prove to me it's an emergency. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion from councilors? Councilor Terrell.
So I move the public hearing be closed.
Councilor Terrell moves that the public hearing be closed. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Councilor Terrell.
I also move that this be granted with the condition that unless they can do the work by the middle of next week, by October 3rd, that this not be performed until after November 1st.
Thank you. Any? Okay. So Councilor Terrell's motion that this be granted with conditions. All those in favor?
Oh, no,
All those
no.
opposed?
Vote on the conditions first. I'm opposed, so.
I'm sorry,
I
what?
thought we were voting on the amendment first.
Okay, so, okay, we'll vote on the amendment. So, on Councilor Terrell's motion that, the amendment be that the work be done no later than the middle of next week. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Okay, on the motion that this be granted, all those in favor? All those opposed? Two opposed. Matter carries. Thank you. Further hearings.
Order from New Singular Wireless, PCS, DBA AT&T for a grant of location for telecommunications.
Whoops.
Fumble.
You can pull
Okay,
that
can we,
out.
we just have to.
Yeah, I can just.
Pull the
You
desk out.
can, that's on wheels. There we go. Okay.
Welcome to Salem.
So this would be in the one at 250 Highland Ave. Jim.
And appearing in favor.
Yes, my name's Michael Dolan from the law firm of Brown Rudnick here on behalf of New Singular Wireless. My client has licenses to operate a wireless network throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and throughout the country. New Singular is also known as AT&T. What we're proposing here is a small cell antenna installation on a utility pole in order to deal with rapidly increasing demand on its network. The small cell facility will be mounted on an existing National Grid utility pole, and AT&T's engineers, RF engineers, targeted the proposed location due to high data demands in this area. And there's a very heavy use and demand for coverage there. The facility consists of a small antenna located on the top of the utility pole, along with a small equipment cabinet on the side of the pole, some related cabling, very unobtrusive, and we're here tonight seeking a grant of location so that we can handle more data faster, quicker, and with more breadth.
Thank you. Anyone else appearing in favor? Anyone appearing opposed? Seeing none, Councilor Flynn, hang on, Councilor Dibble?
Thank you, Madam President.
Sorry.
I'd just like to thank the applicant for selecting a location that is significantly far from any residents' houses, but I'd like to ask him through you, Madam President, how far are you from any, from the closest houses, I guess, I should ask?
I don't know specifically at that location.
I'm going to say it's a couple hundred feet minimum or more.
Probably more.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
more. I would agree with that. So I think this is a pretty good, safe, and wide open location, and I'm in favor of this project.
Thank you very much. Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the hearing be closed.
Councilor Flynn moves that the hearing be closed. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that it's granted.
Councilor Flynn moves that this be granted. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further hearings.
We have a petition from New Singular Wireless, PCS, DBA AT&T for a grant of location for telecommunications at 31 Simon Street.
In favor.
Please.
Good evening. Once again, Michael Dolan on behalf of AT&T. As alluded to earlier, we're looking to install a small cell facility at this utility pole location for the same reasons stated previously.
Thank you very much. Councilor Gerard.
Nobody appearing opposed?
In video, in a hearing, in a room, opposed?
Or anyone else? Okay, great. I will just say that I looked over the documents very closely, and in speaking with, I believe it was Tim,
Yes.
that we went through what. Hi, Tim. Thank you very much for the lengthy email exchange. I appreciated the information. I haven't heard any concerns or from any of my constituents about this, so I'm in support of this.
Thank you.
And so I move that the hearing be closed.
Councilor Dibble, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to ask on this one, through you, Mr. President, to the applicant, how far away is this device and structure from the closest resident?
There is a apartment building abutting this pole.
Yes, in my opinion, it looks to be probably about 15 feet or so based upon the spacing stalls from the map that you provided. There was no distance given on this one. The next applicant you have, you broadly state that it's 28 feet, but I think this one is really super close, maybe 12 feet or so away from the residence. It's 24 condominiums is what we're at, and it looked to be almost very close to the bedrooms, and I worry that it's so close to a residence. So for this one, I'll be voting against this project. Thank you, Mr. President.
And I would just like to add that our facility will comply with all FCC guidelines regarding radio frequency emissions, and we are a fraction of the requirement guidelines imposed by the FCC.
I just think that, through you, I just think that it's just too close to a residential house being roughly 12 feet in front of somebody's windows, possibly a bedroom. Actually, 3 bedrooms.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor or opposition? Hearing Councilor Gerard's motion to close the hearing. All those in favor? All those opposed? The hearing is closed. Councilor Gerard?
Thank you. I move that this motion be granted.
All those in favor? All those opposed?
Opposed.
1, 2, 3 opposed. 1, 2, 3.
Four.
Okay?
4 opposed.
4 opposed? Okay, thank you. 4 opposed. Thank you. Councilor Gerard passes.
Thank you. Nope, but there's one more.
One more?
One more.
Instant replay.
Mingus, Flynn,
We have a petition from New Singular Wireless DBA AT&T for grant of location for telecommunications at 27 Liberty Hill Ave.
Please.
Michael Dolan on behalf of AT&T, here for another small cell facility. In this situation, feedback from the planning department was that we relocate the equipment cabinet to face a different direction, put it up higher in light of the landscape in that view. We've met the requirements of, we're also offered to paint it either brown or gray at the request of the Planning Preservation Department. So we feel like we've taken in the input from these groups and did everything we could to comply with their requests.
Thank you for your presentation. Councilor Gerard? Anyone in the audience, chamber would like to speak in favor? In favor? Anyone in the chamber wishes to speak opposed? Please, would you come to this podium and your name and address, please? Thank you very much.
Ted Terosian, 25 Liberty Hill Avenue. This is just a travesty that this city would allow something like this so close to a residence. After we just got rid of that power plant and got rid of all that pollution that was polluting us, now we're going to put radio waves that close to bedrooms where I have 2 children, 8 and 5 years old, right down the street from Bates Elementary. It's a travesty. There's dead people across the street in Green Lawn Cemetery that won't mind this thing sitting in there, but we have to put it right next to my door. Awful. I can't believe this is even being considered or painted or whatever. You would never want it next to your house. I'll tell you right now, all right? So you could paint all you want, go paint your own house. But it's a travesty. Anyone that does vote for this, you don't have a conscience. Thank you.
Thank you very much for speaking out. Thank you. Councilor Dibble, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have to agree with one of the abutters here. It looks to be, well, on their plan it says 28 feet from one house and approximately 30 feet from another house, when it could go just directly across the street. along Green Lawn Cemetery and not really interfere with the resident houses in the neighborhood. So for this one, again, like the last one, it's just a poor choice of location. And I need to support this young man with his family and all the other families that live there too. So on this one, like any other one, not just this company, but any other company throughout the whole city of Salem, if it's close to a resident, I will continually vote against it. So tonight, I'll be voting against this one, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Could I just add that we selected this location at the, due to concerns about National Grid on us going on poles across the street due to their standards, so this is how we ended up at this pole.
Thank you very much for responding. Thank you. Appreciate it. Councilor Gerard? Oh, I apologize. Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank
It may be as these things go forward that they automatically go to committee and we have people in, because I didn't know the concerns of the neighbors until this gentleman came. And at some point, we have to stand strong for quality of life in our neighborhoods. I mean, these are people that just want to raise their family. I don't want something like this, having a family move out of Salem and lose them. And people have said, oh, somebody else will buy the house. It's not that person with the same neighbors and same friends. So I'll be voting against it and ask that we vote against this and have them find a better location. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Sargent. Councilor Gerard?
Thank you, Mr. President. So this is the first that I'm hearing of any concerns about this. So in light of this strong concerns, rather than closing the hearing, can I move this to public health? Could you take it up?
Do you want to refer
in the next few weeks? Will you have time?
Do you want to refer it, or do you want to just hold the hearing open till the next meeting?
Okay, should we keep the hearing
and then
open?
we can discuss it.
Okay, then
It's up to you.
Okay,
It's
then why
an
don't we do
option.
that? Why don't we keep the hearing open, and then we'll also be able to schedule it or send it to Public Health, Safety, and the Environment, and then we can hopefully have a committee meeting. I know it's getting crazy with Halloween, but have a committee meeting before our next meeting on the 11th, if that will work. Or before the end of October, either one. You can figure that out. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to keep the hearing open on this, and we will schedule a hearing with the chair of Public Health, Safety, and Environment will hold a hearing before our next meeting, and we'll keep the hearing open in the meantime.
Great.
Thank you.
Hearing no other further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? No opposed? 11-0. Vote. Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you very much.
Appointments and reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Philip Koch to the Sustainability, Energy, and Resiliency Committee for the term to expire on December 3rd, 2018.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor Terrio moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion?
Thank you, Madam President. Very briefly, Phil is somebody who comes very highly recommended. I've heard not only from his resume and qualifications that were submitted to us, but I've heard from a number of people who have been active on that committee and a number of people who are active in environmental causes within the city. And I think based on that, I think Phil would be a terrific addition. He completes, at this point, he completes the term that Jeff Barstell had been serving. So he's only on for the next 2 months before having to go through reappointment, but it would be good to get him on the committee and get him to work. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Terrio's motion for confirmation by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble.
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Fury.
Yes.
Councilor Medora.
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilor Milo.
Yes.
Councilor Peterson.
Yes.
Councilor Sargent.
Yes.
Councilor Torrio.
Yes.
And Councilor Gerard.
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the mayor's appointment of Philip Koch to the Sustainability, Energy, and Resiliency Committee, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules to allow Mr. Koch to address the council if he so chooses.
Seeing no objection, Mr. Koch, if you'd like to address us.
Thank you very much for this honor and opportunity. I just want to say that the aims and goals of SERC are extremely important to all of us here in the city, and I look forward to working with the SERC team to meet its goals. Thank you very much.
Further appointments and reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Deborah Grail to the licensing board with a term to expire on December 3rd, 2021.
Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor Madore moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I ought to say that I'm a good friend of Deb Greel, and she was previously our public art planner, so she's very entrenched in the activities downtown where a lot of the licensing will happen, and not only with the businesses, but she's also very familiar with the public art activities and all the arts and cultural activities throughout downtown. I'm very glad that she's willing to serve on this board after her retirement with the city, and I encourage everyone to confirm her appointment. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I also want to rise in support of Ms. Greel for this position on the licensing board. I worked with her a lot over the time that she was working for the city of Salem. I found her to be a tremendous resource, a real person with a lot of energy, and a person who just managed to, who took a lot of nothing that she was often handed and made it into wonderful things for the city. I think her perspective on the downtown is really welcome, and somebody who really has roots in that. That's important. And another thing I would say, just to address, is that our former finance director, Sarah Stanton, was unable to complete this term due to conflicts, and also, just to let you know, she, after a year plus in Cambridge, just took a new position as the town manager for this town of Bedford. So she's moved on to much bigger and better things, and now has an entire town to run, and sadly doesn't have the time for our little licensing board anymore.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Madore's motion for confirmation by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble.
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Fury.
Yes.
Councilor Madore.
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilor Milo.
Yes.
Councilor Peterson.
Yes.
Councilor Sargent.
Yes.
Councilor Torrio.
Yes.
And Councilor Gerard.
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the mayor's appointment of Deborah Grail to the licensing board, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to suspend the rules to allow Ms. Greel to address the council if she so chooses.
Thank you. Seeing no objections, Deb, welcome back to the podium.
Sure. Thank you so much for this. I actually am going to have lighten things up a little bit. I have a funny story about this. I don't know, many people know that I was the first Main Street manager here in Salem. And so I showed up at one of the licensing board meetings. I'd never been to a city meeting. And I was sitting next to Tom Dalton, who everybody remembers so well. And so, not knowing how these things worked, I stood up and I said, "Excuse me, there's a lot of people in this room. Could you just move things along?" And I was looked at by John Casey with quite shock, although he was very gracious. And I sat back down, and Tom Dalton said, "In all my years of covering a meeting, I've never seen someone stand up and ask to move things along." Well, I now know better. And I know that everybody has to have a voice, and so I'll be patient, and I won't ask people to move things along, although I sort of like that 1 minute opportunity. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Further appointments and reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Rebecca English to the Historical Commission with a term to expire on March 1st, 2019.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this be held under the rules due to a conflict that Ms. English has for this evening.
Thank you. Councilor Peterson moves that this be held under the rules. Further appointments and reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Claudia Schuber to the Salem Housing Authority Board with a term to expire on July 19th, 2023.
Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also want to acknowledge that Councilor Milo has recused herself. So I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
On Councilor Gerard's motion for confirmation by roll call vote, hearing no opposition, I apologize. Instant replay. Councilor Gerard.
Thank you. Under discussion. We're so fortunate that Claudia wants to come back and serve us. We were very fortunate to have her as a counselor in 2002, and she has done so much work for the city that I think that this role could not be more suited for the perfect person. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So obviously I'm strongly in support of this. Thank you.
instead of you coming back up, I'm going to just say something here,
Yes.
if I may.
Please do.
Public service and devotion to public service in the city of Salem is a high calling. Tonight, we've seen some great people being appointed. Claudia Schuber is the epitome and essence of public service. Her election on the school committee, bright shining star, love of education. I had the pleasure and honor of serving with you here in this chamber. You're very familiar with class, first class. And we lucked out in the city. I had the pleasure and honor working at the PBS Essex Museum for Claudia. So wherever Claudia is, she has the magic touch. And we're very lucky to have her serve again. Thank you, Claudia. It's an honor, pleasure to be in the chamber with you. Councilor Gerard, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Menendez.
I had to take this opportunity to bring a little bit of memories. I happen to know Claudia Schuber for almost 20 plus years in the city of Salem. And if the history is not mistaken, I think that we're facing each other in one of the elections when she was elected city councilor for Ward 1. What a great privilege and honor to have Claudia representing a great community and the way she did it. So I'm very happy, like our Madam President just said, to have Claudia back on the arena. So I'm in favor of big time that Claudia's been on that board. Thank you so much.
Any further comments? Hearing none, Councilor Gerard will request a roll call vote for the appointment of Claudia Schuber to the Salem Housing Authority. Madam City Clerk?
Councilor Dibble.
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Fury.
Yes.
Councilor Madore.
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilor Peterson.
Yes.
Councilor Sargent.
Yes.
Councilor Torrio.
Yes.
And Councilor Gerard.
Yes.
Thank you. 11 members in the chamber, one had to excuse herself. 10 in favor. Passes. Councilor Gerard, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to allow for suspension of the rules to allow Claudia to address us should she so choose.
Claudia, would you like to speak, please?
At the end of my term, I'll tell you if this is thank you. But I wanted to say that you will have later on a very important vote, which is human rights, and I would agree with that. My appointment and many other appointments are temporary. I've always worked for things that were very important to me, and human rights is paramount. Education, health, and housing, especially the way we're facing it right now. So I am very happy to contribute whatever I can to this appointment, and I thank you very much.
Further appointments, reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of David Gauthier to the Cable, Television, and Technology Commission with a term to expire on September 13th, 2020.
And let the record reflect that Councilor Milo has rejoined us. Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor Flynn moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion.
I'd just like to say this is a great appointment. Mr. Gauthier has over 2 decades of experience from a great Salem family. I'm lucky to have him up in Ward 4, and I think he's going to do fine work for the city. We're very lucky.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any, Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. When I called David this week, because he was going to be in front of us, and he answered the phone and says, "Hey, buddy," because we are buddies. We've been friends since our kids were little, playing Little League together. We coached together. We've faced each other against it. But David's commitment to causes is great. He always takes the bull by the horn, whatever the cause is, whatever the need is to do something. And when I called him just to say, just because as our kids get older, we kind of lose touch, but we still have that relationship where I can just pick up the phone and call him. I call him at his work. He works for a cable company in another community, and whenever we bounce stuff off each other. But when I called him and I said, so why now? He goes, I just was looking to give back, and I felt this was the right fit. And I couldn't agree more with his experience and everything he did down at SATV. When I first ran 12, 14 years ago, whenever it was, and he had to go down and do those segments on there. I'm like, how was that one, Dave? Well, you could do better, but if you screw it up, I can't give you another tape. So you know, it was good. But he's here with his father, and I know how proud his father is of him. And I can't say enough kind words about David. And I really think this is a great appointment, and I think he's going to really work well and hard on behalf of the city of Salem with regards to this board. And I wholeheartedly support this nomination to this board, but I told him I was going to embarrass him, but I can't embarrass him because he's such a good guy, and it's such a right fit for this. So,
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Flynn's motion for confirmation by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Corio?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the mayor's appointment of David Gauthier to the Cable Television and Technology Commission, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules so Dave can address the council if he chooses so.
Seeing no
You're welcome.
objection.
Thank you, everyone. My name's David Gauthier. As you probably know by now, I'm a lifelong resident of Salem, and I look forward to the challenge of working with this committee, and thank you to all of you, and thank you to the mayor for the appointment. I take on this challenge in the name of a very protected right, and that is free speech. Everything that I do in my vocation, and some of these things, especially in this appointment as well, is about free speech. And a lot of what we're facing in community media and even in municipal government, these rights are often threatened. The FCC is considering language right now that would greatly diminish the money that comes back to your community media station. These small cells that you are often considering, these are being deregulated to the point where they're becoming a danger to the municipality because you're losing the control of the public rights of way. So the corporations are giving less back to the municipality. And I want to bring these things to your attention. And again, I appreciate the appointment and look forward to working with all of you. And thanks very much.
Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd just like to go back to the Housing Authority appointment and ask for a city seal to be sent to Peter Strout, who Claudia's replacing. And just say a few words. Peter was a former building inspector. He's a home builder, home inspector. He lived in Rainbow Terrace when I lived there as a young boy, and he knew what it was like to need public housing, and I think that really affected his work on the Housing Authority board, because he knew where he came from and he knew what the people in public housing needed. So I just want to thank him for his many years of service to the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Further appointments and reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Tyler Carlton to the Scholarship and Education Committee with a term to expire on June 1st, 2019.
Councilor McCarthy.
Where'd he go?
He's behind you.
Oh, he was over there early. Just making sure he was here. There he is. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor McCarthy moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion.
We don't have enough time for me to talk about Tyler. I mean, he's a great individual. He came here from Texas, and he went to school here. You want to talk? If you want to engage him, he'll talk to you about his family. He'll talk to you about his time at Salem State, but he's also had time in Representative Tucker's office. He's had time in Senator Lovely's office. He's a very busy individual. Once in a while on Facebook, even though I read it, I know the fact from Facebook that he's working on his master's and he's almost done. He's a very committed individual, and I think that he'll be a great fit on this board, and I wish him all the luck in the world.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Fury, then Councilor Peterson.
Tyler is the essence of public service. Bachelor's degree from my favorite college, Salem State University, in political science. It's great. Then go on to Suffolk University, where I think you serve with Joan Lovely and Paul Tucker. Public service is high quality. You see the people here tonight being appointed in the city clerk's office, and all the appointments we made tonight. They make us all shine. They are the wind beneath our wings in this city. As elected officials, we get paid, but they don't. They put their time and service and love and city of Salem, and we're the winners. Thank you very much, Tyler. It's a pleasure knowing you. I apologize for wearing a Republican tie, Abraham Lincoln, but I'm going to talk about Abraham Lincoln tonight. But he's a very strong Democrat. He's a Democrat's Democrat, Tyler. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. I have gotten to know Tyler over the past year or so, but before I knew him, before I got very involved, on the political side here in the city, I always will remember reading about him when he was running for office and being so moved by a statement that he had made that he had moved here to the community and felt so moved as such a young person by being embraced by the community when he got here that he felt like he wanted to give back. And that hasn't stopped. I mean, he's gotten more and more involved in the community. So I think we're really fortunate that he wants to step up and serve for this committee. And I'm sure he's going to keep on getting more and more involved over the years.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none. On Council McCarthy's motion for roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble.
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Fury.
Yes.
Councilor Madore.
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilor Milo.
Yes.
Councilor Peterson.
Yes.
Councilor Sargent.
Yes.
Councilor Torrio.
Yes.
And Councilor Gerard.
Yes. Thank you. On the mayor's appointment of Tyler Carlton to the Scholarship and Education Committee, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules to allow Ms. Tyler to address the council situation.
Seeing no objection and seeing Tyler already walking up.
There you go.
I want to thank all of you for this. I am a graduate student in my final semester pursuing 2 master's degrees. I know firsthand how expensive school can be. I went straight from my undergrad to graduate school. And I know that student loan debt can be very crippling, so I'm very excited to be able to be, even though a small part, helping our graduating Salem seniors find a more affordable and accessible path to education. So thank you very much.
Further appointments and reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Attorney Elias to the Board of Health with a term to expire on July 21st, 2019.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. Is Attorney Elias with us?
Yes.
Yes, right there.
Hi, how are you? Unfortunately, I did not have my meeting prior to this ran right till 7 o'clock. I didn't have my time to introduce myself, but from reading Attorney Elias's letter and from talking to the mayor about this in passing last week, I just want to say that how impressed and happy I am that you're stepping up. I think she's going to provide some valuable insight into the board, as well as the ability to be fluent in Spanish, which is going to be, I think, a great asset to the board as well. And enough people, the people that I spoke to, I didn't have the time to speak to her personally, are very encouraged about this. So I stand here and enthusiastically encourage my colleagues to vote on behalf of this.
Thank you. Councilor Fury?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have the fortunate honor of knowing Dee for several years as her sons Isaac and Isaiah were in the after school at the Y, and so getting to know Dee over that time, that she is someone who is very balanced, and she comes to us with this great background in law and working at the registry, and she does hearings at the registry. And this is really important when we're talking about the Board of Health, because as the council liaison to the Board of Health, I can say that something that I really admire about this board is that they're really taking into account the health of the whole city. And that's something that I know that Dee cares greatly about. And so I was very excited when I first saw her at the Board of Health meeting a couple of meetings ago, and normally she would come in to pick up the boys in like a ponytail and everything, and then when she reintroduced herself to me, I was like, Dee, is that you? So I'm really, really pleased that she has decided to step up to the plate to volunteer for us, and we're very fortunate to have her.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further comments? Councilor Trafford?
On Council McCarthy's motion for confirmation by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
And Councilor Gerard.
Yes. On the matter of the mayor's appointment of Attorney, I'll just say D. Elias, to the Board of Health, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I ask for suspension of the rules to allow D to address us.
Thank you.
Good evening to all. My name is Daytanis Elias. I've been a resident of Salem for a little bit over 40 years. I'm not going to say the exact date. But I'm so excited to be part of the Board of Health. It's just something that I never thought I would do. I always think that I limit myself in certain areas. I think that if I don't have enough experience or enough knowledge, I don't venture out too far. But when somebody reached out to me and said, I think that you're perfect, you'll be able to help us, I jumped all over it. I said, absolutely. I have 3 children that I've raised in Salem. They've all been through the public school system in Salem. And if I could do something that's positive for the city of Salem, contribute in any way, serve in any way, I'm 100% for it. And I am so glad for the opportunity. Thank you so much to everyone. Thank you.
Further appointments and reappointments.
We have Mayor's reappointment of Robin Seidel to the Salem Traffic and Parking Commission with a term to expire on September 27th, 2021.
Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor Madore moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I've been watching Robin work as a commissioner as part of the Traffic and Parking Commission, and she's always come up with really good out-of-the-box ideas to improve our downtown traffic and parking situation, which we really need, and I fully support her reappointment.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Madore's motion for confirmation by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
And Councilor Gerard.
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the mayor's reappointment of Robin Seidel to the Salem Traffic and Parking Commission, we have 11 councilors voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Communications from the mayor.
We have an ordinance to amend an ordinance regarding short-term residential rentals to allow registration fees for short-term rentals in the city of Salem.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption for first passage.
Council McCarthy moves for adoption for first passage. Under discussion.
Basically, if anyone who's read it sort of in front of everyone, I mean, we all understand we went through a bunch of different meetings regarding short-term rentals. This just a lot of the concerns with short-term rentals is the registration of them and identifying them. And what this does is this just allows the inspectional services to come up with a fee structure in order to have a yearly inspectional fee for these. So, I mean, we could sit there, we could refer this to committee and bat it around, try to figure out what the number is, but I'm sure the inspectional service director is gonna have to sit down, because by state law, he can't charge a fee that's in excess. So it has to be based on, okay, it's gonna take X amount of office work to do this, X amount of time out in the field to do this, and he's gonna come up with a fee structure that's consistent with law. So it also, by not actually stating what the actual number is, allows him the variability of changing it yearly or every other year, fourth year, whatever it is, based on the expense. Or if he's finding that it's more cumbersome to do these, then he obviously has the flexibility to charge more. But it's all association with short-term rentals and the fact that we all, as came through with all the meetings about identifying them and then actually getting out there and inspecting them and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So unless someone has an objection, I move for adoption for first passage.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Council McCarthy's motion for adoption for first passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order in accordance with 760 CMR 66.08. The mayor, on the behalf of the city of Salem, is hereby authorized to submit to the Mass Department of Housing and Community Development an amendment to the existing downtown Salem Housing Development Zone and Housing Incentive Program Plan, originally approved in 2017, to expand parcels to include the B5 Center Development, B5 zoning district, the adjacent NRCC zoning district, and 3 additional parcels, specifically 5 Broad Street, 17 Hawthorne Boulevard, and 150 Federal Street.
Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to refer the matter to Committee on Community and Economic Development.
Councilor Dibble moves to refer this to the Committee on Community and Economic Development under discussion.
I'm sorry, and co-posted with the
And
Committee of the
co-posted,
Whole.
thank you. And co-posted with the Committee of the Whole under discussion.
Yes, very briefly, this is a matter that we started and heard about almost 2 years ago now with a couple of public hearings on it for a couple of random downtown properties to help stimulate some of the economic redevelopment of the court complex. We haven't seen that come through yet because we're still going out to bid and it's going to be a little bit longer. But I'm curious to see how this might enhance and help the downtown, the B5, all of Bridge Street down to Boston Street, the North River corridor zone, as well as a couple of church properties and the old senior center at 5 Broad Street. And I look forward to having these hearings real soon. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Dibble's motion to refer this to the Committee on Community and Economic Development, co-post with the Committee of the Whole. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have the mayor submitting a draft of the Housing Development Incentive Program Zone Amendment Proposal.
Councilor Dibble.
Thank you again, Madam President. I move to refer the matter to the Committee on Community and Economic Development.
Co-post.
Co-posted with the Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. Councilor Dibble moves to refer this to the Committee on Community and Economic Development, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole under discussion.
Very briefly, this is related to the matter I just spoke on, so I don't have any additional comments.
Thank
you, Madam President.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Dibble's motion to refer this to the Committee on Community and Economic Development, co-post with the Committee of the Whole. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Mayor's informational page. None. Motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll read the first part of this and then hope that we waive the rest of the reading. Resolution, a City Council, September 27, 2018. A resolution reaffirming current City of Salem and Massachusetts non-discrimination laws prohibiting discrimination in places of public accommodation on the basis of gender identity and gender expression. And I would ask that we waive the reading of the remainder of it.
So moved.
Thank you. Under discussion.
Did you move for adoption?
Move for adoption.
Councilor Terrio moves for adoption under discussion.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Madam President. So this is a resolution that I've written for the City Council, adapted from language that's been used in a couple of other communities in the Commonwealth, Melrose and Boston, that, for starters, this is simply put in support of a yes vote on question 3. Back in 2014, as some of our speakers said earlier, Salem became the 5th city in the Commonwealth and the first on the north of, in the north of Boston to adopt a non-discrimination ordinance. That was adopted unanimously by the City Council back in 2014. It was a moment we were very proud of, where the City of Salem took a public stance in favor of simply equal treatment for everyone. Many of the councilors here were there for that. It was one of the first things that the new City Council at that point did. So it's 2 years after that, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts signed into law a non-discrimination ordinance of their own that allows for, to put it really, really oversimplification, it allows people who are in a non-binary point in their gender, or a person in transition, or however, it allows them to use the public accommodations that are appropriate to their identity. And that's something that I know a number of people for whom this ordinance, the state law accommodates them and gives them a much more security, helps them with their lives, makes them safer, and it's not something that hurts anybody either. it's being attacked right now as a bathroom bill, and it couldn't be farther from the truth. It's simply a law that allows people to live their lives with dignity and live it according to the gender that they identify as, and basically just lets them go about their day. And so as this campaign is going on, I feel that this is something that's important enough that we should step forward and say on behalf of the city of Salem that we are supportive of this. We were one of the first cities to move out in it. That's been a positive for the city. It's helped people that I know, and more importantly, it hasn't caused harm. And so with that, I would ask for the city council's unanimous support on this, like we had in 2014 when we were ahead of the game and passed our own non-discrimination ordinance.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Milo.
Thank you, Madam President. I was one of the councilors who had the honor of sitting in this room while Councilor O'Keefe chaired the committee meeting, when we had one person after another come up and testify about how this non-discrimination ordinance will affect their lives in a very positive way. For me, it was very moving. It was certainly informative. It solidified, not that I really had any doubt on how I was going to vote, but it certainly made clear to me just how much the vote mattered. If we had taken that vote as we're proposing to do tonight, without having that background and that testimony from the public, I just, knowing now what I know after experiencing that, I feel for the 5 counselors, because I'm counting them here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 5 counselors who weren't on the council at the time to experience that. I think we'd be shortchanging them if we didn't allow this to go to committee and allow a similar hearing that we had, 4 years ago now? Are we talking 4 years? Because I just think if we just let this go tonight, I think it kind of minimizes things. It's like, oh, yeah, we already did that, that's fine. But we all, as a body, didn't already do that. And I think it would be helpful to put this in a committee. We have plenty of time to actually have a hearing, to allow the public to come in and weigh in, and not just 1 minute during 15-minute public testimony. So I would like to see this go to OLA to have some kind of a public hearing to allow people to speak and to allow our counselors currently on the council who didn't have the opportunity to hear what I heard to be able to hear that.
Co-posting?
Seconded.
Co-posted. Are you still seconding and co-posting?
Second.
Okay. So, and Councilor Peterson, I think you had your hand
But I just
up.
wanted to speak with, can I? Thank you.
Okay, so, okay, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Councilor
Thank
Peterson.
you. With all due respect to my colleague, in this particular issue is one where a lot of people across this Commonwealth of Massachusetts are living in a lot of fear right now for the sake of themselves and their children, and especially because this is headed to the ballot, they are feeling like there's a real chance that that they're going to be endangered. And I know, and a lot of them have reached out to me from within our community as well. And you know, a lot of people that identify as transgender are not out about that. So I respect and like the idea of celebrating it, you know, with an opportunity for people to speak. But I also don't want to pressure our community members who to feel compelled like they need to come out and out themselves in order to to defend this opportunity. I would much rather see us pass this tonight in support of that community. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further? Councilor Fury.
Sitting in Council O'Keefe's seat, I truly echo Jeff's sentiments. He was the ambassador of No Place for Hate. He was I'm just honored to sit here. And here we are, City of Peace, our flag, Shalom. Here we are in a gateway city. Here we are in a sanctuary city. And here we just did the Pledge of Allegiance with justice and liberty for all. What better night to do it all tonight? Why wait? The message is clear. Joe would say, why wait? Now. That's typical Joe O'Keefe. And I think we should push it forward. And I strongly support Councilor Torrio's effort tonight. Thank you.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. Although, I appreciate the idea of giving people an opportunity to come into a committee meeting and speak about it. And I think that's a noble goal. But at the same time, this is something that is somewhat time sensitive because we're just over a month away from an election in which this is going to be a question on the ballot before people. Salem has already been down the path of having a very public discussion about this topic. Since I made it known that it was going to be put on to our agenda, I've had a number of people reach out to thank me for doing so. We've had a number of people speak in support of it tonight, even though, yes, they didn't have a lot of time to tell their stories, they still were able to speak in support of it. And I think that simply, affirming the values that the Commonwealth has already signed on to and what actions the City of Salem has already taken, I think that's a sufficiently uncomplicated matter that I would prefer that we move forward and do this tonight and put this to rest and get the City of Salem behind it.
Thank you. Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I was one of the 5 councilors that the Good at Large councilor mentioned that was not part of this whole process. I wasn't present with the discussions. There's very little newspaper article about it across the board. So I would welcome visiting this, and I think that if we hold that very positive meeting, which is a lot of benefits to the local ordinance that we have and to the state law and to the resolution that the good Ward 5 Council has written, there's a tremendous amount of equity, if you would, or fair play and taking care of our brothers and sisters across the state and across the city. But I'd be interested to hearing it again because I didn't hear it the first time. So I'd be interested in hearing it for the first time and possibly making some changes to it, possibly making some amendments to our local ordinance and make it stronger so it's more forceful. So I would welcome a meeting on this through the OLA over the next 2 weeks, and then we can vote on it the first meeting of October, 1 month before the election. So I think it's a very good idea, and I thank her for bringing it forward. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Councilor Fury?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is actually very important to me, this resolution. I have friends and family member whom I love who identify as transgender. And while I appreciate and I remember very fondly that committee meeting that Councilor O'Keefe, God rest his soul, ran, especially standing here right now, that this is something that I know that my friends and my family do not want us to delay on. And I would like us to go to the vote tonight and to hopefully just pass it tonight, because this is something that's important to us, because as you were pointing out from your initial speech, that we're an inclusive city, we're a city of peace, we're a city who we are more inclusive than exclusive, and we need to honor everyone who lives within the boundaries of the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Councilor Mather.
Thank you, Madam President. Just to address one of the comments, that my request to send this committee was not done with the intention to have people coming forward feeling like they have to advocate for themselves. That's not my intention. However, I do feel strongly that this would be best served in committee, especially because you know yourself, you experienced it. If you didn't experience it, you don't know what happened that evening. We have the time to do it. Whether we do it in the next week or the next 2 weeks. I just feel like it's important that this go to committee to have the discussion, to have the testimony that it warrants, and I think we have the time to do it. I appreciate the Ward 5 council bringing this in, but I think we need to give it its due in terms of attention.
Thank you. Councilor Sargent.
Thank you. Probably some of the most difficult things I've ever had to say, but for this ordinance, for all the good that it does, and so many good things, have a small little piece that you might want to change. And after we passed this with good intentions and very good results, I remember reading articles, and it wasn't a bathroom issue, it was a locker room issue. And the article in the paper talked about, say, a mother or a grandmother with young daughters at a YMCA locker room, and having the experience of somebody walking by the young daughters with a little different anatomy than the young daughters we're used to seeing in that locker room. And it was a difficult issue for those girls that might have to learn an anatomy lesson they may not want to have to learn in that situation. And if we send this to committee and we get the wording right and that's the case, even if we don't change it, it's just some simple thing that we could put on our resolution. Can the powers to be work on making a small change to this? Maybe private areas, a third locker room, a separate place, so that we could make it stronger, so that we help everybody we need to help without hurting somebody that we may not want to be hurting in the sense. So with that, I would support it going to committee and maybe talking about that a little bit. And I think that'll make it a stronger ordinance and best for everybody involved. Thank you.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to support the Good Ward Council bringing this resolution. I was part of those discussions, and I remember early on, the first conversation I had with Joe about it was, even before we had the hearings or anything, after it first came up, and I forget, I called him about something, and we just started running the gamut of stuff, and he said to me, Bobby, it's the right thing. I go, I know. I was just, how do we get to this point? And he goes, it's the right thing. So it is the right thing to do, but just for clarification, we don't have an ordinance in front of us. There is going to be no changing of the ordinance, because the ordinance is in front of us. What we have in front of us is a resolution, and the resolution, if you want to, we waive the reading, you can read the resolution. Resolution just basically confirms what we've already done and what everyone in this, this room a few years ago did. They did the right thing, So, I mean, we could sit here and say, we can talk about whatever, but we're not here to tweak an ordinance when the ordinance isn't in front of us. What is in front of us is a resolution basically reconfirming what we did prior. And so that's what's in front of us, and I support the Ward 5. I mean, I think it was 11-0 those years ago, and the five councils that weren't here, I wish they had been there. I wish they were involved back then, and wish they could have seen it and experienced it, but it's true. But all this is doing is reaffirming what we did, and it's reaffirming going forth into an election cycle at the state level of what is the right thing to do. And this is the right thing to do. I don't think we need to wait on this. I'm going to support the Ward 5 Council. I understand what the at-large council is saying about giving everyone the experience, but I think it's the right thing to do, just to pass the resolution, because it isn't, when you get down to it, it isn't what we did back then. It isn't an ordinance. This is a resolution reaffirming what the ordinance did back then and what it's still doing to this day. And the ordinance isn't in front of us. What is in front of us is the resolution.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Okay, so let's see. I think we
On the
go
motion of the
first.
committee.
Yep, okay, so on Counselor Milo's motion to move this to committee to ordinances, licenses, and legal affairs, co-posted with the committee of the whole, seconded by Counselor Sargent. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All those opposed? Opposed. Matter does not carry. On Counselor Terrell's motion for adoption. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All those opposed? Matter carries.
Present. Present.
I'm sorry? I appreciate that, but no claps. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Fury. I had a call you, sorry.
Previous discussion, please, Madam President. Ordered that the meetings of the qualified voters of the city of Salem be held in several voting precincts listed below us at the polling places designated hereafter on Tuesday, November 6th, from 7 to 8 p.m. for the purpose of casting ballots for state election of the candidates for following offices, and as we discussed previously on a different resolutions on the ballot. It's very important for all of us to vote, and part of our democratic responsibility and privilege to vote. So I request that we set the election for Tuesday, November 6th. I waive the reading.
Waive the reading.
And request the support of the full city council to allow the Tuesday, November 6th election to take place from 7 to 8 p.m.
3 pages.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And you move for adoption. And just to remind voters that hopefully everyone knows where their voting precincts are. And so on Councilor Fury's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Fury.
Thank you for your indulgence. Ordered that the regular meetings of the City Council for the month of November and December be held on Thursday, November 15th, 2018, and Thursday, December 6th, 2018, and be it further ordered that the regular meeting of the City Council scheduled for Thursday, October 25th, 2018, meeting be moved to Thursday, October 18th, due to early voting. Madam President, may I request the adoption, please?
Councilor Fury moves for adoption under discussion.
I think with everything going on in the election process, how exciting it is to have the election on all issues and ballot questions and so on, it's critical that we move these meetings that we have regularly to the meetings mentioned. So I move for approval.
Thank you. I just want to mention that in my discussion with the city clerk and discussing that with the way that we're going to be set up with early voting starting on the 25th, that people will be able to use the anteroom, the Josephine Fusco anteroom. And so because of that we discussed moving the second meeting up. So we still are going to meet on October 11th, but now we're also going to meet on October 18th instead of the 25th. So I just want that to be clear to everyone at home and to remind all of you to come. And so on Councilor Fury's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, September 27, 2018, ordered that the Traffic and Parking Department shall, in conjunction with the Traffic and Parking Commission, recommend to City Council updates to the city's traffic ordinance, rules, and regulations as related to resident sticker parking by January 15, 2019. And I move for adoption.
Councilor Madore moves for adoption under discussion.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. The number one calls, emails, messages I get are related to parking issues, especially downtown and in immediate areas of the downtown. Most residents, when they call me, don't realize that as a resident, you cannot just park anywhere or request a resident sticker to park anywhere in the city as tax-paying residents. They have to either live on a street where there is resident parking, sticker parking year-round, or else they would have to buy a garage pass, a monthly pass somewhere. I think the way that the streets are distributed for resident-only parking is not very fairly distributed. I would like to see the Traffic and Parking Commission look into better ways to reform our downtown parking so that the resident sticker parking system is more equitably distributed so that my preference is that if you live within a zone, you should be able to park as a resident on any street in that zone. And I think we have the capacity to do that, but I would like to see the commission work with our traffic and parking department to study this specifically and return to the city council with recommendations on how we can improve our ordinance. And this is just simply a study. We're not mandating any ordinance changes, not proposing any changes. I would just like to see them study the issue so that we could at least move forward to a more fair resident parking system. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Council Madura's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Council McCarthy, Councilor Dominguez, whoever wants to take this. Council McCarthy.
I just have to find it 1 second. Where is it? Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. City of Salem City Council, September 27, 2018, ordered that the Committee on Government Services, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, meet to discuss a new PA system for the council chambers and that the information researched by the city clerk be included. Move for adoption.
Council McCarthy moves for adoption under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. Well, it seems that no one has any problems hearing me, but it seems that some people can't, except when there's motorcycles driving by. Let's be honest, this room is...
Cavernous.
It's old. And if everyone looks up those all the decorative scroll work and stuff in there, they're actually vents. There's vents up to some ancient wooden system that's got fans up there and all sorts of stuff. It's kind of unique when you ever get up the chance to go up and walk around up there. It's kind of weird. But it's the place is old. And especially, not so much tonight, because the air conditioners are off, but when the air conditioner is on and someone's up here speaking or someone's at the podium speaking, everyone thinks that these are microphones. These are microphones for SATV. So the city, and it came, a concerned citizen brought this up, and I give kudos to the city clerk, because the city clerk had already been working with SATV on a proposal in order to buy some amplification for this room that will work for the room and would also not interfere with this system so that the people at home can hear us. So someone brought the idea forward. I called the city clerk, Councilor Dominguez, immediately emailed. I was on the phone with the city clerk when Councilor Dominguez actually was responding via email, and I said, she'll put my name on it because, it was a concerned citizen that brought it forth. And it's overdue, but at the same time, this system is, when those people don't realize, when I first started, Councilor Sargent and Councilor Fury, we had microphones that used to clip to us. And so if we had to get up or we had to move, all of a sudden we were being, because they were on a clip. And so we've evolved to this, and we've got a new, so we're trying to get into the 21st century, and this is another step. So I wholeheartedly, with my good colleague to my right, support the idea of bringing some amplification into this room to make sure that everyone can hear everything that's going on in the room. So,
thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Sargent, did you want to comment? Just because it's your committee, are you fine with this?
No, I'm very fine. Thank you.
Okay, great. So, seeing no further discussion on Council McCarthy and Councilor Dominguez's motion for co-posted for adoption, and this will go to the Committee on Government Services, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President. In City Council, September 27, 2018, ordered that the following attached veteran squares be adopted. Can I read that now?
Yes.
Ordered that the following veteran squares be adopted. Swiniarski Square, to be located in Ward 1 at the corner of Turner and Essex Streets, in honor of U.S. Army Master Sergeant Benny S. Swiniarski, who was killed in action on 8 January 1952 during the Korean War. A 17-year veteran of the Army, he served with distinction in both World War II and Korea. He was awarded the Silver Star in World War II, along with several Purple Hearts for wounds received during both World War II and Korea. Tondreau Square, to be located in Ward 5 at the corner of Cherry and Porter Streets, in honor of U.S. Army Corporal George A. Tondreau, who died on or about 20 February 1951 while imprisoned as a POW in North Korea during the Korean War. In Carson Square, to be located in Ward 6 at the corner of Garden Terrace and North Street, in honor of U.S. Army Sergeant Paul R. Carson, who was killed in action on 6 October 1971 during the Vietnam War while assigned to Battery C, 3rd Battalion, 23rd Infantry. The Salem Veterans Council fully endorses the naming of the below city squares as requested by family members in honor of the sacrifices of these Salem veterans. All the veterans meet the eligibility criteria for Veteran Square nomination. It is requested that these be given favorable consideration by the Salem City Council, and I move for adoption.
Councilor Flynn moves for adoption. Under discussion.
This is something that's near and dear to me, and I'm sure everyone else in the city of Salem. These 3 men gave their lives. They gave their lives for our country. This is what it's all about. I think this is extremely important. And this is something that I feel is an honor, that we should all be honored that these 3 men are being recognized even years later after they gave their lives. Making their memory alive keeps them alive forever, in my mind. Thank you.
Thank you, and it's definitely long overdue. Any further discussion? Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I have to echo the good Ward 4 councilors' comments. This is really important for us to do. And we're talking about carnivals. We're talking about all sorts of interesting things tonight in the last, well, carnivals over the last 4 meetings, I think. Recognizing these 3 people, plus all the ones we've done in the past, and hopefully not too many in the future, is really important. I think the Veterans Council and Kim Emmerling, our Veterans Agent, does a great job bringing these forward. Not only bringing new ones forward, but maintaining all the ones that we've had over the last decades. So thank you to the Ward 4 Council for bringing this forward, and thank you for letting me speak on this, Madam President.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Flynn's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem, the year 2018, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to use of Salem Common. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Article 3, Common Use Policy of Chapter 26, Parks and Recreation, is hereby amended by deleting subparagraph 8 of Division 2, Section 26-75, prohibited activities in its entirety, and replacing it with the following. Mechanical rides for amusements, including carnivals and circuses, except in connection with a City Council permitted event. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by City Charter, and I move for adoption for first passage.
On Councilor Madore's motion for adoption for first passage, under discussion.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. We received an application to have, well, we didn't receive it. I stand corrected. So there was a proposal to place the full carnival for haunted happenings on the Salem Common. And as a result of that discussion, we came to understanding that there is an ordinance for the Salem Common that prohibits all mechanical rides and amusements or carnival-like rides. And to be able to allow the Salem Common to have a full carnival, we would have to either waive or amend that ordinance. And we did not have that discussion in our chambers, but as an unintended consequence of that discussion, we discovered that we had also possibly eliminated for the possibility of smaller carnival-like rides for children to be allowed on the Common, which has done so in several past years as part of the Salem Common Neighborhood Association's fundraiser at the final 2 weekends, 4 days in October. And from the feedback following that discussion from my constituents and constituents around the city, they really want to see those types of smaller rides geared towards children be continued to be brought back to the common. They have no issue with the scale and the size of those rides. It's that activity itself has become a Salem October tradition, and even my own family, I make lots of memories there with my son, and I look forward to having it again if possible. But we still have this obstacle to overcome if we were to allow these smaller mechanical rides to return. So what I'm proposing is to allow some flexibility in the way that our Salem Common Use Ordinance is written, so that we could review these rides on a case-by-case basis. I have not received a single correspondence from constituents who are against these type of smaller rides for children. Many of them don't see this as a carnival, but rather just 4 days of fun for children and their families. And I think we would like to see this continue, and I know that there is discussion in this body about amending the language of the proposed amendment to strengthen it so that we could specify maybe size or the number of rides, maybe the height, to make it more clear that we're allowing specific types of rides. I'm open to those amendments, but having this amendment gives us still have the authority to serve as gatekeepers for these events. Currently, City Council has to permit any carnival in the city regardless of where it is. So if we do pass this amendment tonight and have second passage on the 11th, we would be able to review any permit application that would come before us. But right now, there is no application before us for the common for any carnival. And so I will leave it at that, but yeah, just leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Terrio?
Thank you, Madam President. 2 weeks ago, when we had our first September meeting, we had, at that point, before our agenda was filed, we had the opportunity to potentially bring in the carnival to the full actual carnival, although modified from what they normally had done on Derby Street to the Common. They had worked out a plan, made a lot of concessions, but ultimately the support was not there from the members, and as a result, it was withdrawn and never filed with us. So, so that has passed. We have before us a little bit later the only possibility at this point for a scaled down version of the full Salem Halloween Carnival. And I know the Chief of Police is here to address that if we allow that later on. This is something, this order here, or this ordinance change here, does not bring a carnival onto the Salem Common. It doesn't bring any event to the Salem Common, but what it does do is it gives the Salem City Council the discretion to make these choices of what we would and would not support there in the future. It allows applicants for events like the SCNA's Kitty Carnival that we're talking about, that as a result of the law of unintended consequences, an event that has been held on the Common for years with basically a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, like, yeah, oh, go ahead, they're little rides, no big deal. That's just been simply allowed because it wasn't really considered to be a carnival, but as it turns out, the way the ordinance has been written in the books, that's not allowed. And so we've had other events similar to that are not allowed if we take the ordinance at its word. So I think what the Ward 2 councilor has brought in here is a very reasonable solution to this in the short term and likely in the long term as well, because it allows the city council to have the discretion to decide whether an event is suitable for the Common. And the city council, by rejecting the previous proposal, now full disclosure, I would have supported it. But the city council has the discretion to say, no, we don't want to do this event here, it's too big, or say, yes, we think this fits with the character, we think this fits for the neighborhood, we think the neighbors support it, and we have the ability to do that if we pass this. So should we not pass this for first passage, should we either reject it or send it to committee, then that eliminates the possibility that the neighborhood association would be able to hold an event that they've held there for years. If we pass this, it gives us the chance to hopefully save that event for the neighborhood. And additionally, it gives us the ability to move forward and take a look at any proposals that might come before us for future, whether they be other neighborhood fundraisers like the old YMCA event that's been held, the events held during Heritage Days, or many of the other events that we can do. It gives us and the City Council the ability and the responsibility to vet these events out before any decision is made. So I support this.
Thank you. Councilor Fury.
Yes, Madam President. I was against the common being used for the big rides that would disrupt the atmosphere and the families of the common. It looks good on paper to have the common as a center of circus, but the after effects, the residual effects, would really be a detriment to that neighborhood. So I voted when Chief Butler called up, asked whether we support the common. I was against it. But I don't think tonight we should send a clear message that the children of Salem should not be held hostage. It would be a sin and tragedy to take this family kiddie circus away from them. A week from tonight, many of us will be walking in the parade. A week from tonight, walking the parade, watching in the parade, listening or watching on SATV, watching Salem Evening News, or reading the Salem Evening News the day after, what family fun is all about in the Salem Common. We've had it. We need to have it. It's the glue that keeps this, the Halloween happy and positive. I think by having the bigger rides, where we're proposing later on tonight, it'll be safe and positive for this year, but to have them held hostage would be a sin. Salem should be a fun place to be, a safe city to be, and that's for our children. We need to look through our children's eyes, and the common is an ideal place. Thank you, Councilor Madore. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Madam President. I had to echo some of the concern that some of my colleagues already expressed about having a carnival for the little kids. I think this is a necessity, not only on getting the family involved, but also bring some other options, making sure that our children, family together, enjoy the celebrity that we have here during Halloween. Initially, when the issue was bring to us in front of us, I was in favor of having some type of carnival or some type of celebration. Just because I think that we need to make sure to continue to gather family together. What we need to find is a place where the quality of life did not get affected or impacted. I think that we cannot continue to have any type of activity on the expense of people who live here. We wanted to fix something about family, but at the other token, we are disturbing the way of people living. So we need to be very careful on that. I agree with the good Councilor Ward too on that proposal for the little kids. I think that we need to do something, and that's the right way to do it, because it's been done every year, and I think it's been done in a proper way. We should allow to have that kind of for the little kids down in the comments. But for the other matter that we're going to have in front of us, we need to be very careful and make sure that we really address the concern of the residents of Salem. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Sargent.
Oh, thank you very much, Madam President. Of course, we're all for having the kids carnival on the kids fair on the common. It's something we had for 10 years, and we're able to do it. And now, because we can't have the large carnival, all of a sudden we can't have the children's fair, I'll call it. And I don't think we can accomplish this by taking something out of the ordinance. I was looking for legislation to allow the children's carnival, fair, circus, whatever we want to call it. And we can accomplish that by adding something rather than subtracting. A simple clause at the end of what's allowed on the common, something to the effect of a kids fair with up to 5 mechanical rides not to exceed 10 feet in height may be held in October. Something simple like that allows us to have it. and keep the protection that Salem Commons had for years, just like Riley Plaza's had the ordinance for good reason against the carnival. So, like I say, I grew up around the Common, hung around there a lot, went to the grammar school near there, and I was there all during the last carnival that was held there. And there was a lot of damage to the Common. And not all of it shows up the next day. Some of it shows up the following spring when you go to turn on the sprinkler systems and only half of them work. And you're paying thousands of dollars, more so than what we take in with the revenue from the carnival, to repair all those residual effects of what went on the year before. So not all of the issues show up the next day or the next week. They show up a little bit later on. So we can keep the protection that we have on the Common, and just add what we want to add, wording to allow the children's event to be there. So I would make that as a friendly amendment.
Okay, so your amendment, just tell me the language again, just so that when we have to come to vote on it.
And I'll put it for debate. It's just that a kid's fair with up to 5 mechanical rides, not to exceed 10 feet in height, may be held during the month of October.
And we know that most rides are 10 feet?
Well, they're probably less than 10 feet. The kids' carnival rides, you can go like this and hit the top of them, but I'm just saying, not to exceed 8 feet, whatever you want to do. I think there's 3 mechanical rides during the kids' fair right now. So whatever wording we need to do to accomplish the children's fair, as it's been for the last 10 years, without putting the Common at further risk of a large carnival.
Okay, do we have a second on the amendment? Councillor Flynn? Yes. Okay, so seconded by Councillor Flynn, and then I saw 3 hands go up, so Councillor Terrell, Councillor Flynn, and Councillor Dibble, and then Councillor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. Just briefly, I don't support amending this to try and set any specifics, simply because what we're doing, we're not deleting anything really by doing this. What we're doing is adding that if it's in connection with a city council permitted event, we can allow them. So by making that change, what we're doing is it means that any proposed event, the kiddie carnival or anything that's going to potentially go on the Common, has to come before the city council for approval. And so we don't have to set an arbitrary number for what the limit of rides is or how high they can be. We don't even know how high the rides that they use are. We're just kind of, grabbing numbers here as, okay, no more than 5, no more, up to 10 feet or whatever. And those numbers might fit, but it might turn out that the rides are 11 feet tall, in which case they remain illegal. So I would say that what we should do is pass this as it is, because it does leave all the power to make this decision in the hands of the city council. And then assuming we pass it, and assuming we have second passage in 2 weeks, and the SCNA can get their act together to get us a concrete proposal for 1 week later, which would be the 18th, when they could bring something in, then we can look at what they are proposing to bring in. We can look at the plan for what rides and how many and how big, and then we can make that judgment. This hasn't been an issue that's come before the city council in the past, but what the SCNA has put in there, in conjunction with Fiesta Shows, who's provided the rides, what has happened in the past has been something that nobody's really had an issue with. So I would say we should pass this as is, and I will vote against the amendment, but I say we should pass this as is, and then leave it as the city council's discretion. Simple is better.
Thank you. Okay, so next we have Councillor Flynn,
Thank
Councillor
you,
Dibble,
Madam
Councillor
President.
Madore, and then Councillor Milo.
Thank you, Madam President. I have to agree with the good at-large counselor. I think we should not be taking anything out of this ordinance. There's a reason why this was put in there. There's a reason why there's an ordinance in there also for Riley Plaza. People before us, they explored this and they had reasons for doing that for the protections of those areas. I can definitely understand having the smaller amusement rides there. It's worked in the past. There hasn't been a problem. But we should not be taking things out that protect the citizens of those 2 neighborhoods, Riley Plaza and the Common. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Dibble, Councillor Madore, and then Councillor Milo.
Thank you, Madam President. I think we have an ordinance that's working well. Somehow we've had a wonderful kiddie carnival there for the last 12 years or so. I don't see why we need to make changes for this, but when the Ward 2 councilor contacted me on this, asking if I would support the kiddie carnival, I was clear at the last city council meeting on the record that I'm in support of a kiddie carnival on the Common. If the neighbors don't mind it, and if the association there likes it, it goes to benefit other programs that they have. We should find a mechanism to allow the small kiddie carnival for young children, rides to go back there at the Salem Common. With that, Madam President, we have a lot of people here in the room tonight that are waiting for this for the last 2 hours, 15 minutes, waiting for us to talk about the carnival. We have 2 other matters about the carnival in different locations also on the agenda, so I move that after we take action on this, that we handle the 2 matters relating to the carnival on pages 20 and 21 of the agenda as well, to follow immediately afterwards, so these good people can hear all 3 matters. In case they didn't know there were 3 matters, there's 3 tonight, and then they can go on home, or they can hang around for another hour and a half and listen to us talk. I'd like to see the carnival go back to 289 Derby Street, so we'll be talking about that at the second matter on carnivals. But with that, I think that we can get creative and put some wording into this to allow for the small kiddie carnival to go in there. And I had suggested an age, a group of age. Everything else we do is group by ages, 2 to 5 and 5 to 12, on and on. If we put an age group on this kiddie carnival for rides appropriate for that younger population, I'm not sure what the age would be. Perhaps the Ward 2 councilor who's researched this topic might know. I'm not sure. But I am in favor of the kiddie carnival. I'm not in favor of making changes to the ordinance. Let's put the bigger carnival down at 289. We'll talk about that later tonight. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Okay, hang on. So, Councilor Madore, Councilor Milo, and then Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. I do welcome amendments, but I want to be clear that we're not taking anything out as a result of this amendment. We're actually adding just the wording, except in connection with the City Council permitted event, which gives us the discretion about the specifics that we are already discussing, the height, the number of rides, the age. And so this effectively preserves the current ordinance, and we're adding, giving us more flexibility to review these events. And to add the number of rides, I'm okay with the number of rides, but to add the height and the age limit, I'm just afraid that somehow down the future, someone will find a way to police this, say, how old are you? Are you 12? You can't ride this ride. Or how, we don't want to be overly prescriptive in a way that would alienate some of these visitors to this activity. And in terms of height, I'm not sure if 10 is a good limit, because some of these rides, they kind of go higher. I believe the super slide might be higher than 10 feet. It's not mechanical, yes, but if there's a mechanical ride that does elevate some component of the ride higher than 10 feet, then maybe that wouldn't be allowed, and it just really narrows down to what kind of event this is. And as a result, unintentionally maybe discriminating against types of rides or types of activities. But I think it's fair to limit the number of rides so that the scale is maintained at a certain level, and amend it so that City Council can use our discretion to say, okay, this ride might be too high because that will be included in the application, which we can review. Is this appropriate for children with a certain age range? But we can't expect to review applications that are not before us, and this would be doing that if we're determining the height and the age group or other limitations. I'm simply adding the flexibility for us to review the application on a case-by-case basis. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Milo and then Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. As the late Joe O'Keefe always said, if it's not in writing, it doesn't exist. I'm also in support of the Kiddie Carnival, and I know that it's a fundraiser for the Common Neighborhood Association. The language that's here doesn't tell future city councils what our intention was or is tonight. It just says that the council's going to permit the event. I think we need to figure out a way, because I believe the goal tonight is to get to a point where the kiddie carnival can go on the common. I think that's what we're looking to do. So, given that, again, we are at the, 2-minute warning here in the game, which we're finding ourselves in a lot of situations this week, if we can come up with some language that's somewhat flexible, but that has the indication that, we're looking for kiddie rides here, whatever we want to call them, as opposed to just permitted events, city council permitted events, because that to me could be anything. And I don't think that's what we're talking about tonight. So I appreciate the Ward 2 councilors' possible amendments. I appreciate the at-large councilors' amendments, and I'm not really sure what the language should look like, but maybe we can put our heads together and come up with something. Thank you. Councilor Sargent now.
Thank you very much. Having listened to the comments, I've been putting your heads together for you, if you don't mind.
Thank you for that service.
You're welcome. And I'm very reluctant to change an ordinance without it going to committee and without public input. I mean, I bring to mind Holyoke Square with the bus park, and it took a year to get that right after we tried to do something the night of a council meeting with good intention. And so with that, that's why I'm so against changing the wording that's in there. But the compromise would be to add something to allow the children's carnival fair, whatever you want. And having heard about the height and the numbers and those kind of things, we could just put and again, changing that other ordinance is something that should go to committee and take a long time, because it could end up with a carnival on the common next year, and that deserves a lot of debate. But we can get the children's carnival on the common with a simple clause, like at the end, that just adds, a children's fair may be held during the month of October with the approval of the city council. That doesn't lock anybody into height, events, this and that. We're not micromanaging. And that will get us through this year. Let's just get through this year. Then we have all year long to get ready for next Halloween. Well, can we just add something? Is that wording simple enough that a children's fair may be held during the month of October with the approval of the city council?
So you're withdrawing your original amendment and adding?
Exactly.
Oh, okay. So
changing my original amendment to this.
Say it again, please.
Added at the end of the ordinance, a children's fair may be held during the month of October with the approval of the city council. And hopefully that'll get us through this year. Please.
Second. Seconded by Councilor Milo. Month of October. I'm sorry, the month of October. What was the other piece?
Children's fair may be held during the month of October with the approval of the city council.
With approval. Okay. Okay, so Councilor Terriel, I know you had your hand up, but you've already spoken twice.
No, up to you. Your discretion.
Why don't we let the Councilor Madore, and then if you need to add anything, I'll consider it. Councilor Madore.
Speak more than twice. Thank you, Madam President. I think if we just say we are permitting a children's fair, that is somewhat ambiguous as to what defines a children's fair is. And the issue before us is permitting mechanical rides or amusement. So that amendment doesn't address the concern, the fundamental concern. So a friendly amendment to the friendly amendment. Children's fair, which may or may not include mechanical rides or amusements, be held during the month of October.
City council, we can approve anything we want.
We can also approve anything we want with this amendment, but if we're just designating this as a children's fair, I'm not sure how we can define a children's fair effectively if we're already trying to give ourselves the authority to review these applications. So during that review, we could decide whether this is a children's fair or not. But adding that specific wording in the ordinance, I feel like that might cause some kind of discrimination.
Okay.
But my friendly amendment to the friendly amendment.
Your friendly
says
amendment again was? Children's
well,
fair.
what was it? A children's fair.
With mechanical.
Which may or may not.
I mean, mechanicals are already in it.
Mechanical
What?
rides.
So it's, mechanical rides or amusements are already in it. So, including carnivals or circuses. I'm replacing it with the following, and more specifically, a children's fair.
Keeping it vague on purpose. So that's the whole thing.
I'll let you speak to that. I'll yield for now.
Okay, great. Councilor Fury.
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. So I like the idea of where this is going. The children's fair may be held in the month of October with approval from the city council. And I agree with what our colleagues are saying, that we just need to get this through October. That if we could even say, this is for October 2018 to be revisited November 2018, or something like that. Just get us through. Just get us back the kiddie carnival. That's really all we need to do. Like, just make sure that we get back to this, or we review prior to, have a decision by July of 2019, something like that. Like, just so that we can, let's just get through this, get through October. Isn't that usually what we all say? Just got to get through October. Let's just get through October, get the kiddie carnival safe, squared away, and then go forward.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Any further discussion? No?
Where are we at?
We are, well, okay, so where are we at? I feel like I'm about to tell a story here. So we are, Councilor Madore motion for first passage, Councilor Sargent amended to had so I believe this would go after subsection 8, mechanical rides or amusements, including carnivals and circuses, except in connection with a city council permitted event. A children's fair may be held in the month of October with approval of the city council. That was seconded by you, Councilor Milo.
So,
And
we have to vote on the amendment first.
okay, we have to vote on the amendment first, but I still see other hands
Just
going.
want to make sure we're not deleting anything, and just read the amendment as adopted one more time, please.
Okay, so do you want me to read the whole thing from section 1 through?
No, what we're adding to the end, what I added and what may have been added to it.
Okay, but that wasn't seconded. So the amendment, so, and Councilor Madore yielded, correct? Okay, so it says section 1, article 3, common use policy, chapter 26, Parks and Recreation is hereby amended by deleting subparagraph 8 of Division 2, Section 26-75, prohibited activities in its entirety, and replacing it with the following. Subsection 8, mechanical rides or amusements, including carnivals and circuses, except in connection with a city council permitted event, comma? Or maybe just change subsection 8 to say just a children's fair?
No, right?
Okay, okay. So you're yielding?
My whole proposal.
Councilor Sargent.
Oh, please? Oh,
Yes.
Thank you, Madam President, sorry.
Oh, no.
My whole proposal is not to delete anything.
Not to delete. Okay.
Just to add at the end of a new section, a new number, whatever you want to put, that a children's fair may be held during the month of October with the approval of the city council. We're adding to the ordinance. We're not deleting anything.
Okay.
And if we choose to delete something like that, we have a whole year to work on that. Right now, we just want to work on adding something that will allow the children's, whatever you want to call it. And I mean, let's keep this as simple as we can for now.
Okay, so is this not in here? Hang on. Oh, Madam City Clerk?
We're just waiting to, do you want me to look? if I can read it to you as it exists.
Madam President?
Yes, Councilor Terrell.
Yeah, sorry, I don't think if we're keeping 8 as it is, as it currently stands, which is including carnivals and circuses, period, and then adding a clause saying that the city council may permit a kid's carnival, I don't think that language, we're fortunately, we don't have a bunch of attorneys on the board nowadays, so we can't, this one, and sometimes that's a blessing, sometimes a curse, but in this particular case, I don't think then, I think the language that's here that prohibits mechanical rides or amusement would still remain in effect. Unless I think we have to modify Section 8 to allow the city council to permit it one way or another.
I don't think we do.
Okay. Excellent point. I'm just trying to find, okay, so I see Article 3, Salem Common Use Policy, 26-66, purpose and goals.
I can get that.
Where exactly is site preparation? Okay, should we take a quick recess just so we can find this?
It's 72.
Oh, Madam City Clerk.
It's 72.
I'm sorry?
We can add something.
It's 70, it's 26-72, subsection 9.
Subsection 9. Okay, so mechanical rides. Okay, so prohibited activities. Okay, so that's
1 through 11, no, 1 through 15.
But then don't we have to, how do we do this then? Because we would have to then delete. That's at 8, but it's actually 9.
Mechanical rides or amusements, including carnivals and circuses, except for a child's fair during the month of October.
That's what I'm
May or may not.
We're not
Okay.
deleting.
So not deleting.
We're adding.
So, and
It's actually Section 9, not 8.
Okay, so it's Section 9.
26-72, subsection 9.
Not 8.
Okay,
Except
so,
2. So it prohibits mechanical rides or amusements, including carnivals and circuses,
Yeah.
except.
okay.
So subsection 9. Could I read what might say there, please?
Oh,
Except
so are you suggesting, can I read your mind?
that we add to that, except that a children's fair may be held during the month of October with the approval of the city council.
Okay.
Oh, the children's event.
And that's an exception.
Children's event?
I don't know, I'm just saying, if somebody didn't like fair, call it an event, who knows?
Well, you're prohibiting them with an exception.
Okay, so-
When you prohibit the mechanical rides and then you say except, you're making an exception to that prohibition.
Councilman Madore?
Thank you, Madam President. So should we change this to
Okay, so instead of saying that we're going to delete the
Right.
subparagraphs, we're not saying
Amended
that.
by adding-
Amended by.
adding two subparagraph, is it 9 now?
9, it's
9?
26-72.
9 prohibited activities, and then, so we would just delete the rest
Right at the end.
after 26-5,
72.
So
72.
26-72. Amended. Is hereby amended by adding subparagraph 9. Yeah.
And then just add that additional sentence.
Except the children's fair may be held in the month of October with approval of city council.
Yes.
So it would be amend section 26-72, subsection 9, by adding the following.
Yes. Okay.
That would be comma.
We would just erase this part, right, for adding the
Yep,
following.
deleting the subparagraph, delete that.
The following.
Amended.
With the approval of the city clerk? I'm on board.
We'll put all the pressure on you, Madam City Clerk.
It's good.
I don't have it
Yes.
anymore. So
Okay.
Okay, so do we have a second on the amendment? Counselor Dominguez. So, wait, who wants to take credit for the amendment? Would you like to take credit for this?
Give it to Councilman Medora. It's her
Okay,
vote.
so on Councilor Medor's amendment, Councilor Dominguez
discussed.
seconds. Okay, so, are we all clear?
No, could you read the amendment, please, Madam President?
Yeah, okay. You guys seem to like hearing me read to you.
You're good.
Interesting tonight. Okay, so, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Article 3, Common Use Policy of Chapter 26, Parks and Recreation is hereby amended by adding to Section 26-72, Prohibited Activities, subsection 9. After mechanical rides or amusements, including carnivals and circuses, except in connection with a city council permitted event, except a children's fair?
No, it stops at Conneaut.
Oh, I can't hear you, I'm sorry. Aren't I reading it? I got it. I'm sorry, mechanical rides or amusements, including carnivals and circuses. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, got it.
Those words aren't in there.
Okay, so I don't need that except part. Okay, so let me try it again. Article 3, Common Use Policy of Chapter 26, Parks and Recreation is hereby amended by adding to subsection 9 under section 26-72, mechanical rides or amusements, including carnivals and circuses, except a children's fair, may be held in the month of October with the approval of City Council. Do we have it?
Close enough, that was good.
Okay, and that was amended by Councilor Medor, seconded by Councilor Dominguez. Okay, I think we're done talking. Let's vote. Okay, so on Councilor Medor's, on the amendment by Councilor Medor, seconded by Councilor Dominguez. All those in favor? All those opposed? That carries. On Councilor Medor's motion for adoption for first passage as amended. All those in favor? All those opposed? Not a carries. Okay, now can I have an order as, Councilor Dibble, do you want to go out of order?
Madam President, I move
Page 20? Yes.
I move that we go out of order to the other two carnival matters, both on page 20 and then 21.
Thank you. Seeing no objection, and again, as Councilor Terrell mentioned, we do have the police chief here if we want to suspend the rules to allow her to address us on this matter, since the order was hers. So, communications from city officials.
The following order was introduced by the Chief of Police. Ordered that the City Council hereby authorizes the closure of the following roadways from October 16th, 2018 through November 2nd, 2018. The right-hand southbound lane of Washington Street between a point approximately 125 feet north of Federal Street and the southernmost end of Washington Street's intersection with Federal Street and 2 Federal Street from Washington Street to a point approximately 150 feet to the west.
Councilor Medor.
Thank you, Madam President. This is a proposal for a new location for the October Carnival, the full carnival. We heard from our administration the proposal details. It's reduced in size to, I believe, 9 rides in total. I have to remember the number right. 8 rides. And it's split into 2 sides. One is between the Tabernacle Church and the former county commissioners and Superior Court buildings. And for that to take place, we would have to close off kind of the mouth of Federal Street at Washington and reduce the lane of. Wait, did I move for adoption?
No, you didn't. You cut to the chase. Move what? Granted or committee? Where are you going?
Move granted.
Councilor Medor moves that this be granted
So
under
I'll
discussion.
continue. Sorry.
Okay, continue.
And so the proposal is requesting the reduction of Washington Street, specifically on the slip lane along one of the court buildings, and to allow a few additional rides. And on the other side, and so on that side of the proposal, it will be rides geared towards teenagers, older teenagers, but on the other side, there will be no street closures required for that proposal. It would be contained within the old district court parking lot, which is going to be redeveloped sometime next year. And that site is proposed to have 3 rides, which are geared towards children under 10-ish of age. That typically is part of the kiddie carnival that we just discussed. And
so do you want to amend this then? Do you still want to include that?
So there's no amendment, but I just want to provide a background and context for my colleagues on the council that this morning I, with the Chief of Police and Mayor's Chief of Staff, our Traffic and Parking Acting Director, Ellen Tukowski, our Special Events Coordinator, who am I missing? And EJ from Fiesta, we were able to meet with some of the neighbors who live immediately in that area to listen to some of their concerns about this proposal. And my understanding is that the biggest impact to these neighbors is that split site across the street directly from the buildings at 28 Federal Street. And just full disclosure, I do live at 20 Federal Street, right next to that building. They are concerned about the noise and the lights that will come from that parking space with the kiddie rides, but I feel that if we are able to move those 3 rides that used to be on a common to the common with the first passage and hopefully second passage of the ordinance we just amended, we can eliminate that split site completely and just contain the entire carnival on the other side, which is further away from the residents, and we would not have to ask our police department to kind of control the flow of pedestrians, that families that might go between the 2 sites. I think after just talking to some of the neighbors, I feel that there's acceptance for that, and I would like to see a way for us to contain all the activities to one site on the church side, the Tabernacle Church side, and completely eliminate the split side. And I don't think we have a, do we have like a map?
Right here.
Yeah.
Councilor.
We have a map. So you don't want to amend this order? Do you want to, I mean, deleting that Federal Street side? I mean, the Federal from Washington Street, is that the side or?
So it wouldn't require any amendment because we're not closing any street on the other side.
Okay.
But I'd like to hear from the rest of my colleagues, or even the police chief.
Okay, do you want to suspend the rules?
Suspend the rules to allow our chief to come and address the council if she so chooses.
Seeing no objection, Chief Butler.
Thank you very much. Thank you for letting me speak. I know this has been several weeks of trying to deal with carnival issues and trying to figure this out. I appreciate you taking the time and trying to go through all the dynamics of each one of these particular things that we're trying to put forward. This is, I guess, sort of a last stop at this point. I think that's where we've got to. Not really finding that we have appropriate space in a lot of our areas downtown, looking at a number of different places. There's a lot of displacement of vehicles, which is somewhat problematic, even including the Church Street, which we use for Salem residents during October, and so that these become sort of non-issues in terms of non-starters, in terms of any conversation, which is probably why it's never got to you. And the dynamics, obviously, of trying to put a carnival is it needs the appropriate space and height and lack of trees and poles and wires and all those particular things. So I think we're at the last point where we're at right now, and You know, it's definitely a scaled-down version. Like I said, is it optimal? No, it's not optimal, but it's kind of where we're at this point to try to have a carnival. So we've had the carnival now for 11 years, so this will be the 12th year. And I think that it took us about 3 years, ultimately, to get people to start coming into the downtown and getting more of what we were looking for, which was the family-friendly environment. I think because of all the things that had happened before and all the things that were published in the paper and sort of the backlash of some of the things that happened, we knew that there was a plan that we needed to put in place and we needed to do things. And so one of those things, and it wasn't the cure-all, it wasn't the end-all, it wasn't the be-all of anything, but it was a portion of a plan to try to just keep people engaged and keep people moving around. So that included some of the music spots that we have, and it is to try to keep the flow of people, to keep people engaged. When we look at sometimes some of the establishments that we have downtown, whether it's the bars or restaurants, we look at the haunted houses or some of the things that come in for October, and even the historic sites that we have. There's insufficient capacity to handle the numbers that we get in, certainly in the last couple weekends in October and on Halloween. So it's about finding things for people to do, constructive things, so we don't have idle hands. And I think this is just a part of whatever that process is trying to do that. Not dissimilar from fireworks, trying to at least show that this is the end. We're closing down, things are closing down, and now we're going to have the fireworks, and we're trying to let you know that it's all over. You can go home now. But the carnival is to try to engage families and bring them down. And we've actually made that sort of turnaround, and you can see that in, it's no longer people fleeing at 7 o'clock because, oh my God, 7 o'clock hit and it's time to get the heck out of town. If you're a family or you're a family with young people. So now we see that mix, and that's something I guess I just don't want to see deteriorate. Is the carnival the only thing? Maybe not. But I'd like something. And I think this is where we're at, because in a short term, this is where we're at. This is what we have. I'd like, obviously, if we could put, we have lots of creative people in this town, some creative thought together as to what that looks like and what we can do going forward. That would be great, but right now we're at the 11th hour. And so I guess this is why I'm putting this proposal forward. I would like to actually see this happen for that reason. I don't want to step back. I don't want to have a misstep. And I don't want to sort of upset the apple cart in the flow of where we've tried to get to with bringing families to this event and I think what has been a very productive and mild way. And like I said, it took a few years for that to actually flip around. And then we saw the numbers, at least in terms of some of the activity that we were having, which were some astronomical numbers at various points, down into single digits of response. Can I always control, what everyone's doing, and can I say that would never ever happen? No, because I can't really count on the behavior. But the more people that we have down there that are families, that are the people, whether they're our own residents or other people, that's what we want to see. Because I know a few of you have heard me say this. I mean, we have Mardi Gras. It's in New Orleans. Let's leave it there. Let's have a family-friendly environment, because this is our community. And that's why I'm asking. So I appreciate your consideration. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer.
Thank you. Okay, so Councilor Terrell did have his hand up, and then Councilor Fury, and then Councilor Sargent. So, Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. What I'll say about this is mercifully brief, but 289 Derby, it worked well as a site for many years as holding the carnival there. It happened to be a convenient empty lot that had been raised and was privately owned, and we were able to make the arrangement to allow that to be held there. And we knew once the city decided to purchase it, and because the site was going on the market, had we not purchased it, it would have gone on the open market. And as is from something I learned recently, a person I work with in my day job is somebody who had hoped to bid on purchasing it from the previous owner had the city not stepped in, and he would have outbid us. So I think it's to our benefit in the sense that we got to control the destiny of that site rather than having another big block of condos on the water or whatever else would have happened there. This being we knew after last year that when construction of the park that we had decided as a city council to purchase, when construction happened, we knew we would be facing an issue this year because that park would not be rebuilt and the fundamentals of the park would have changed. Hopefully, as construction progresses, maybe next year, we can return some of this event there. Maybe we can put it in a couple of different locations and put some stuff in the park. There is a lot of open space as part of the new park, and maybe we can deal with it then. But in the meantime, what we're faced with is this year in which there is no other site. Now, I would have supported it being put on the common. I've stated that several times, but that did not happen. So, and even should we, even with the ordinance we just passed, that's not going to happen. So, really, the bottom line for me is I've spoken to the administration. I don't really care about the little bit of money that the carnival brings in. That's not the biggest deal out there. And a lot of the revenue that we get city-wise still comes from the food concession that they bring to town and the other services that they operate. I'm supporting this for one very simple reason, that the chief of police, who I respect greatly, believes sincerely that this is an important part of the crowd control and crowd management strategy that the city uses. I don't like putting it, I would rather not be putting it in this place, but we are out of other places to do it. And I hope that come next year, we have other and better options to put this. But for now, in a greatly scaled down, much shorter, and a week shorter than previous, and with reduced operating hours, this is something that we can use to help keep the city operating relatively smoothly and safely during those couple of weeks. And I wish I didn't have to support it, and I wish I had something better I could support. But this is what we're faced with. It's pretty much either this or we don't do anything. And I'd rather do this.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilor Fury, Councilor Sargent, and Councilor Peterson.
I have the honor of sitting in Councilor O'Keefe's desk, and I have the honor of sitting in Councilor O'Leary's seat. Your father-in-law, Maureen, right? Uncle and godfather and godfather. Real role models here. And they would always say, support public safety, support your local police. Chief St. Pierre wanted it, Chief Tucker wanted it, now Chief Mary Butler says, public safety, we need a circus downtown. Now, it's close to the bewitching hour. The hour is ticking away. Tick, tick, tick. Sounds like 60 minutes on Sunday night. But we are there. We need to compromise tonight on a parade. Next Thursday is the parade. Lo and behold, we're going to be marching in it. Last week, sincerely, I had the distinct honor to take a 4-day trip, a Civil War battlefield trip, sponsored by the Salem Council on Aging, so I missed the groundbreaking for the Council on Aging last week in Tatum, Bull Run, Gettysburg, Washington, D.C. Abraham Lincoln's signature statement was everywhere where I went. I'm wearing Abraham Lincoln's tie, a Republican tie, lo and behold. Everywhere you went, Abraham Lincoln. Doris Kearns Goodwin, who I met many times over the years, spoke of him saying he had the extraordinary ability, Abraham Lincoln, to have the empathy, a gift or curse, whatever it may be, of putting himself in the place of others, to experience what they're feeling, to understand what their motives and feelings are. He had the innate and inner wisdom to compromise. Compromise. As a lawyer, as a husband, as a father, tonight is such a time that we have to compromise tonight. I did not support Raleigh Plaza site, nor do I support the Salem Common site. But next Thursday, many of us, we dressed up, marching in family-friendly Halloween parade. You can feel the excitement everywhere in that parade. The joy of the participants, the watchers. It is a parade like the Mardi Gras out of New Orleans, filled with spirit and fun. We have had a family fun circus for years, and to capture the spirit of Halloween, we need to continue that tradition. There is no perfect site that will not impact residents. Sincerely. No perfect site. I've had my sons and grandchildren go to the circus. To skip a year would be a tragedy. For the children of Salem, for the young people of Salem who make Halloween possible. A circus is a family-friendly site and an atmosphere. We have had a host of events each day in October, but that's not enough. That's the glue. The circus is the glue, the heart, the nucleus of the Halloween, as Chief Butler states. For safety, look through their eyes, walk a mile in their shoes. Public safety, public safety. We're the Halloween capital of the North Shore, if not the region. None of us want any of the events to be taken away in the core and heart of Halloween by an ugly event or misfortune or someone hurt. We all have to live in Salem, next to a library, next to a police station, next to fire stations, playgrounds, businesses, state roads, a college, a university, a hospital, courthouses, a power plant, museums, waste treatment plants, Salem Willows, junkyards, hazardous waste sites. All year round. All of us do. What makes Halloween an exception? We have to be Salem's best. All of us. Next spring, lo and behold, that courthouse is going to be torn down. This court's going to be torn down. Commercial site. High-rise apartments and condominiums. We all have to sacrifice to be in Salem. Most cities and towns would give their right arm to live in Salem, to have the things going on. Halloween is it. It's a real, like Christmas, it's like Halloween. Why take the spirit away? This circus is critical. Not ideal site, going to be impacted to the residents. So I sincerely believe, as Abraham Lincoln led to inspire compromising in his own courthouse experience, in railroad contracts, his wife Mary, his sons, generals, the federal income tax, the draft, the Emancipation Proclamation, all these Abraham Lincoln did. Compromise. Compromise. We need to compromise tonight. There is no ideal site. We need to have a circus downtown. As close to the witching hour, I really support Chief Butler. For the sake of the city of Salem, this needs to continue, this tradition. We can't skip a year. It's too scary. I've had 5 adopted sons and grandchildren go through the same. With the hyperactive age that we have today and children and young people today, internet, bullying, so on, that circus is the glue. It's expensive, it's family friendly, it's expensive, but it impacts many, many of you. Sincerely, I'll give you my key to my apartment on 36 Dunlop to anyone who will impact it. And I'll ask my landlord, hey, if you want to live in my apartment, because I really believe, and I'll live in your apartment, in your place. Sincerely, anyone of you. This is so important to the city of Salem. Sincerely. Every place will say, not in my backyard, not in my backyard. And may I ask that expression again, President? What's that, bananas? How do you say that expression, bananas?
Build absolutely nothing anywhere near anything.
Isn't that sad? In Salem. Can you repeat that just to make sure? NIMBY, we all know. NIMBY, could you repeat that again?
Okay.
I apologize.
Build absolutely nothing anywhere near anything.
Does that sound familiar? A circus? Hello? We need it. We need a circus. Someone's going to be impacted? I'll be glad to sacrifice. But we need to sacrifice for the sake of our young people in Halloween. It's here, whether you like it or not. We can't ban it. They're coming. Next Thursday, we'll all be marching. It's here. Let's make it a reality and fun for Salem, the Halloween capital of New England. Thank you.
Thank you. So Councillor Sargent and then Councillor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. Some acronyms. There's NIMBY, and I always like the what I call Al-NIMBY. NIMBY's not in my backyard, but Al-NIMBY's, as long as it's not in my backyard, I don't care. I can build whatever I want near you. And we get supporters like that sometimes. And I said to them, what if that was near you? And they get very quiet. So we need to find compromise, as Councilor Fury said. And I'll simply ask the chief, we need this for safety. Would it be just as safe if it was located in the parking lot beside the market or in Elmy's parking lot? Would it be just as safe there? Actually, the situation would be safer for pedestrians, but would public safety be just as well served?
I think public safety would be, and I don't believe that, Council, that was the issue. The issue was the displacement for what they allow residents a place to park downtown during the month of October.
And revenue. The big thing is revenue, parking revenue. But with this proposal here, the church isn't as much on board as people originally thought. One of the conditions the church asked the city for was, will the city hold them harmless for lost parking revenue? And they make about $4,500 during the October time for their parking revenue. If they only make $2,000, the city has to pay them $2,500. So what's the difference if they lost $2,500 down on the meters next to the marketplace, which is one of the sites that was proposed by by Allen, as they put the planning department put the 4 sites together. What's the difference if we pay them money for lost revenue, or we lose a little revenue ourselves? I mean, that's another compromise. We can't have our parking revenue and have our carnival maybe at the same time. And it seems like we want it both ways. The Elmies lot is a nice flat lot, open space. It's like to me it's a common without the grass. It's open space to be used, easier to clean up. Sprinkler systems don't get squashed, and the same thing the parking lot downtown next to the marketplace. It brings everybody. It's like at the epicenter of the haunted happening. So I should be addressing you. It's at the center. Everybody would be coming from the directions towards the middle instead of leaving downtown to cross Riley Plaza like when we wanted to have it in Riley Plaza, or coming up by the train station. This site here, just when people get off a train, you ever try to get down that street when everybody's crossing and coming to and from the train? So, this is as busy an area as Riley Plaza is. So we had a committee that put together 4 sites, and we've been pushing like crazy the 2 sites that are illegal by city ordinance, the Common and Riley Plaza. We haven't had a meeting about Elmy's parking lot, a site that was chosen by the site committee. We haven't had a meeting about the parking lot between the fire station and the marketplace. When we first had a meeting, we got 4 proposed sites with maps and included those 2 sites. So I can't understand why we aren't talking about sites that were approved and were, debated, and maps were made by the planning department. And all of a sudden we come up with closing the street. When I first heard about it, I just thought we were going to go down Federal Street a little ways with a smaller carnival. But as soon as I realized it was coming out into Washington Street, that's something that I can't support. Squeezing down a main street during the busiest time of our year there. So I'll yield for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. I think it's no secret that this carnival has been very divisive. We've heard a lot from residents on both sides, having both opinions, whether we should have it or whether we shouldn't. And for me, I really do agree with the chief about making sure that we are ensuring that we have a lot of family-friendly programming, and I think we do a decent job. I think this adds to it for the families with small children. We are a family with a small child, and we take advantage of the carnival, and I know my daughter would be devastated if we didn't have it, but these things happen. But I think for me personally, when I think about the importance of this, it has more to do with the big gap in programming that we have for teenagers and younger adults, because they're going to be here. Maybe they're not so into haunted houses. They're too young to get into bars, and they might be inclined to look for fun activities by wandering, neighborhoods, or just trying to find things that we don't want to encourage looking for trouble, I think. So this is something that especially I found compelling to hear from people that volunteer at the info booth, who say that this is going to be a huge loss because they'll literally have nothing to point that group toward. And so it just kind of in some ways, and I think that really does point to the public safety piece of it, is that, we'd have a whole segment of our visitors and our residents that have no real way to participate in our October activities. So I think, as everyone's been saying, it's not the ideal location. What I would propose, not in any formal way tonight, but I think maybe starting in November, we get a community conversation going, including the Youth Commission, to talk about how to get to think more creatively about how we can improve next year. Maybe we don't even end up with a carnival. Maybe we come up with something better. But for now, we're here. I think we need to do something. I think if we get to October and we have literally nothing for that age group, I think will be, at a minimum, disappointing them, and worse, I think we'll be looking for trouble in some of our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Fury?
Yes, please.
Sorry.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Councilor Giroux.
Thank you, Mr. President. So earlier today, I did have a conversation with the police chief that I had heard from some constituents that are members of the Tabernacle Church, and they were concerned about how this was essentially going to clash, or if this was going to clash with some of the activities that go on at the church. So I guess I just wanted to ask for clarification. They had mentioned some programs with Boys and Girls Club. They also mentioned some Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, and I know that in the memo that we received that they would start after noon on Sundays, but so how, if you want to speak to the body?
Sure, that there was definitely some of the things that they had talked about. So they host the Boys and Girls Club in their lower level. They also do have AA meetings there, obviously not at the same time as the Boys and Girls Club, but there are people that need to go there. And I think that was sort of the thoughtful process of trying to say that we weren't going to go beyond we stopped before the parking lot of the Tabernacle Church to allow that access to their parking lot, number one. But number two, for the ease of some of the buses that are coming and dropping kids off at the Boys and Girls Club, we talked about opening a couple of the spaces right in front of the church so that ease was there, and it didn't make a difficult situation trying to get through and traverse, maybe a tighter turn in terms of a bus. It also allows the parents to pick up. So there were some things that were around that particular process, and then there's different events that they're hosting, including some music events, and we talked about, then we're just going to coordinate and tone down the music. That was one of the things that Fiesta Shows had actually provided is that they don't have each one of their different rides that have their own music. They actually have it in one system, so it's a one switch to turn music down, as opposed to running around to each one of the rides. And so then we would coordinate with that to make sure that was down, so when they actually have a music concert going on, that we don't have competing music going on with Tabernacle Church, because I don't think any of the intent was to annoy neighbors. I don't think the intent was to stop any other particular entity or organization within the community from doing some of the things and programming that they had. It was trying to just find a place that we could make this work in a way that was at least a place that we had that somebody might be able to agree on, because it was really hard for people to agree on a lot of the sites that we did have. And I'll speak to the council's situation relative to like Clop Alley. The problem I think there is that there's a couple of different segments of that parking that are actually leased parking within the particular buildings, the lands, as well as the ones that are closer to Front Street. The problem is trying to coordinate those to be able to get those to move, because those are places that they rent, and that became somewhat of a problem in terms of some of the things that we did. So I think that, I think even, I'm not sure, yes, she's still here. We had talked about, the Hawthorne Hotel, if things were going to be over there, is that we would be able to control those things. Heaven forbid they had a wedding going on and somebody's trying to actually, provide the service, and you got blaring music going. I think that we would coordinate those things well to make sure that we did not negatively impact, an event that was going on. And by the same token, that's what we would do with like the Tabernacle Church. So.
Thank you. And so if I may, thank you. So one other question that I have, I noticed on the map that it looks like there's going to be some traffic coming through where the Bushko Courthouse is that?
Mm-hmm. There's actually a drive, yes.
Yes, so because what I was looking at was like, why not just push it further down that stretch of Federal Street so that it's not obstructing any part of Washington Street, but it looks like but
we're restricted a little bit by that, because then what we're doing is we're actually probably going to be taking parking out on Federal Street itself in order to make it two-way for the residents, the businesses that are actually operating there, because it would be the only way for us to do that. And then their access point is still a little bit difficult. They would only really be able to access if they were coming in, if they were coming from the Witch House, and turning in. Going out, they would only be able to go out, North Street, or going across to the to the ramp down to Bridge Street. So I think that what we tried to do is be thoughtful about continuing the flow of traffic in a way that was productive.
And that driveway, I guess.
And that
can handle
driveway
that.
is right there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, Chief, it's good to see you. We've talked a lot. You've done a lot of lobbying on this, so it clearly must be important to the police department and yourself. We talked about it at Riley Plaza. We talked about it again at Salem Common. We talked again today for a good number of minutes about the Washington Street location. I'm wondering, through you, Madam President, if you, Chief, if you could just explain a little bit on how will the pedestrians traffic flow from the train station down Washington Street, and will they be able to go right through that section of the carnival is on two different sides of the street, but that section is like a letter L, it's a bottleneck. Are they going to be able to go through the carnival, or do they have to go all the way around? What happens to the pedestrians there?
Yeah, through. Yeah, I had to make clear that because, you know, obviously we have a lot of people that come to the city by train. There's a lot of our residents that go back and forth by train. So I think it needed to be clear that that path and that crosswalk that exists right by the corner of the courthouse, Washington and Federal has to remain open. So that would actually be open for pedestrian, the flow. It would actually be between, you know, some rides, and that would be sectioned off to make sure that that flow continued.
And you're okay with that?
Yes.
Through a carnival like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You just mentioned Federal Street being two ways, and I don't see that on here at all. Is Federal Street remaining one way?
No, I said if we went beyond that particular roadway, that would be the only choice, because no one would be able to access it, because it is actually a one-way street coming from Washington to North. And if we were to go beyond that particular driveway that is off Bridge Street in between the courthouses and went beyond that particular area, that's why we're a little out to Washington Street, then what we would do is actually block access for people who resided there or businesses to actually get there, because it's literally only one way. We'd actually have to literally make that a two-way section, and as you know, it narrows down at a particular point, which could be a choke point and a little problematic for people.
So it's going to remain one way?
It's going to
remain one way. It comes through the driveway and then down Federal Street as you can do presently?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Back in June, when this Riley Plaza issue first popped up, I discussed it with the mayor, and I asked if she would look into simply putting the carnival back in a lot that worked really well at 289 Derby Street. If we could suspend the construction during the month of October and let the contractor get back to work in November. And she was going to get back to me on that. And then hopefully the carnival can go back there year after year going forward as well, because it really didn't impact anybody down there. It worked well. I mean, it's proven. Just like the kiddie carnival on the Salem Common for the last 12 years or so has worked well. So I'd support that on the Common. I couldn't support it at Riley Plaza. Let me be clear, I supported the kiddie carnival on Salem Common. So hopefully the carnival can go back to 289 Derby Street, and we don't have to revisit this going forward. A couple concerns that I had was the good at-large councilor mentioned the lost parking revenue from the church. And somewhere in all these documents, it says that the city will reimburse the church for lost parking. I find that questionable. Also in these documents, it talks about the area next to the district court, that the city will clean up that smaller carnival area next to the condos, and then the city will pay for repairs to the pavement after that. This is a private entity that's giving a good service to the city of Salem, but I think we're bending over backwards. I don't know if we're putting up, the city of Salem's putting up the barricades, the fencing, the Jersey barriers, or whatever is protecting the carnival participants from Washington Street, from cars going right through a fence. Will there be Jersey barriers? To the president, to the chief, are there Jersey barriers proposed along Washington Street so cars don't come to Jersey barriers? Who's putting the Jersey barriers in?
That's a very good question, but I would say somehow it's going to be a combination between the carnival and DPW.
Okay, so the money that we're going to make, $30,000 or whatever the number is going lower and lower and lower and lower, so it's not really a money issue anymore. It's more of a service that we're doing to provide one more activity. out there. So the money issues, in my eyes, is almost off the table. I have trouble with the proposed Washington Street Carnival being located in two different areas. Like the Riley Plaza one, where children are going to be coming from all different angles, from the Point neighborhood, from High Street, from Major McLeish's area, all different ways. We're now talking about a carnival on a busy downtown street on both sides of the street, beside the district court, next to some of the condo owners that are here, and in the historic Federal Street area with all these beautiful buildings, and a crosswalk that connects them together. But you're going to have kids of all ages, and mom and dads with baby carriages with the older children wanting to go one place or another, going back and forth. How is that any safer than Riley Plaza? I guess Riley Plaza is more dangerous because it's more like a racetrack the way it used to be, but it's more traffic all the way around. But it's still very dangerous. So as a safety officer for the city of Salem, I question having a carnival across the street from another carnival and having them go back and forth. So with that, I'd like to move to divide this question, because I am against having a carnival on both sides. It makes no sense. If we divide the questions, the section that's next to the district courthouse, that's right, if you look at it, it's really in their backyard. It's just over a little fence. I don't know who the condo owners are that spoke earlier. You guys. That little section of the carnival is literally in your backyard. So enjoy seeing the children all waving and yelling. That's really close to your backyard. Probably, I'm not even going to guess, but it's a short number of feet from your back windows. I like carnivals. So if we can divide the question, so we're voting on one carnival on one side of the street and the other half of the carnival on the other side of the street, so we can vote on it intelligently, separating it that way. So I'm moving to divide the question, Madam President.
Council Medora and I already discussed this at the beginning of this, that once we approved the kiddie carnival, that the smaller lot, that the, what does that say, Crazy Bus, Rockin' Tug, Mary, that was going to be the smaller kiddie rides, and those were going to go to the common. So this would just be one spot. It wouldn't be both of these. And so our conversation at the beginning of this was that we didn't have to amend it to change anything, that it was just going to be just one spot.
I like that approach, Madam President, but it's still before us here, on here. It shows on the plans. And I think we need to hear it. We need to address it so we can vote against that portion. But it's before us. Both half of this carnival on both sides of the street is before us, and I have a safety issue with children going back and forth all over the place. And quite frankly, you've done a great job. We're personal friends. I think this is against all safety common sense.
I had that conversation with you earlier, and I think I was hoping that that was going to be resolved with the amendment that Council Medora brought forward, and it seems like that has gone forward with a first passage, and that alleviates a huge amount of concern on my part as well.
So again, Madam President, I'm moving to divide the question, and I will not be in favor of at all of the small kiddie or whatever it is here, some sort of rides in this section of Washington Street next to the district court.
Councilor Sherry.
Thank you, Madam President. All due respect, that's not the question that's before us. This is not a question we can divide. This question is specific to the lane closure on Washington Street on the side of the courthouse that we are, basically the adjacent portions. The parking lot that the Good Ward 7 councilor is referring to is not city property, it's actually SRA property, and any permission to use it has to be granted through the SRA. We don't have control of that facility. So there's no closure on that side of the street, there's no lane drop on that side of the street. The event as it's planned here is entirely within that parking lot, which is not our jurisdiction. So the carnival itself is a different question, but this, what we're dealing with right now, is strictly the lane closures, and that's not a question we can divide. So there's no closure on the other side. There's nothing on the other side of the street that's before us with this order.
Thank you. Councilman Medora.
Thank you, Madam President. If we would like to divide any of the sites or the rides, I would recommend that we address it when the permit application itself is before us, and we can make amendments or make recommendations to eliminate some of these smaller rides, because that would be not included in this application specifically, and maybe further down in the future, if an interested party would like to put these smaller rides on the common, they can bring forward the application, but we could discuss eliminating the smaller rides on the separate site when this item, when we get to that item. But currently, the question before us is just a lane closure, and I'm not sure how we can divide that. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, seeing Councilor Matlow.
Thank you, Madam President. We're running a committee meeting here tonight, so I'm going to be brief, hopefully. I don't want to put the chief on the spot, but I do have a question. So there's been a lot of discussion about public safety and how, through you, Madam President, yes, how the carnival is one piece of ensuring public safety, how there are many activities that have grown up through the years and that have contributed to that. We also had this conversation, and I don't want you to have to predict the future, but by the same token, is there any data specific to the carnival that says if we don't have the carnival, you know, forgive my language, all hell is going to break loose on Halloween?
Yeah, I don't believe henny penny the sky is falling over the situation. I just kept saying it is absolutely one piece, and what I don't want to do is stop the momentum of families coming down. I guess that's where I'm at. The piece of evidence, I think, is going to be what you see relative to the arrest data. In terms of where we're at. At one particular point before this carnival, we're having, 34 and that type of arrest. So we're down into the single digits at this point, almost inconsequential as the years have continued to pass. And it's a momentum that I guess I'm looking to continue. So that's where I'm at. Do I think the sky will fall? Absolutely not. I don't think the sky will fall. I think that we need to be thoughtful then, going forward in terms of what it is that we do provide, because we do have to provide something. And I know there's been a lot of talk tonight about, the number of different things that we have going. The problem is most of the things that are in those books that are going are 1 to 3 or 5 to 7. They're very short-lived, hit or miss type things. And this is something that has a little bit of some constant and continuity that is provided for a large number of individuals to take part in. So.
Okay, thank you. Madam President, I don't have anything against carnivals. I'm going back to Joe O'Keefe. I keep hearing his voice. He didn't even like people running past a church on Sundays. I don't know what he would say about putting a carnival next to a church. This is something that I've struggled with, but I've also heard from the elders at the Tabernacle Church. I've heard from the residents. We heard tonight from a very lucrative business, and I can't support this as is, and certainly I can't support it at the nth hour. I think that we just kind of dropped the ball on this, and we should have been having this discussion 6 months ago. There are too many questions in my mind, certainly some financial in terms of what the city is going to be responsible for, whether it be to the Tabernacle Church or as far as repairs after the carnival leaves. But I can't support this.
Thank you. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. Simply, I will support this because the chief asked me to. The chief is public safety. It's in her opinion. And I'm a little dismayed that when I, at the 11th hour, was approached by the fact that they wanted to bring a carnival to the Willows the day after the 4th of July, and I expressed all my concerns. Every member of this body, except for one, stood up and basically said, we can figure this out, we can make it work. And they had no disregard or care for the neighbors that were directly affected by that. And I'm happy to hear that the Ward 7 councilor is going to welcome the next carnival with open arms to Ward 7, because he refers back to 289 Derby Street. With his limited time on the council, he has no idea what we endured with regards to the neighbors around that parcel. He doesn't, I guess he's never heard from anybody from Derby Lofts or from Charter Street, or I guess he's minimalizing the people who live in the Point, who the Ferris wheel is front and center in front of hundreds of windows with no obstructions, no trees or anything. So I'm glad that he's having the conversations he believes it belongs back there without even talking to me about it. That's great. But I'm glad to hear that he's happy that and likes carnivals and will take the next carnival up in Ward 7, wherever that may be. So I'm looking forward to that. But simply put, the police chief asked to have a tool in order to manage public safety. Do I like this site? No. I don't. Did I like Riley Plaza? No. But we keep throwing out sites and everyone has reasons why no. If this is the 11th hour, if the votes aren't there, so be it. It's, as the police chief just stated. Will it be the be-all, end-all? No. But she's asked us to consider supporting her and this endeavor. So, because she asked, I will support her. And with no disrespect to any of the neighbors, I understand their concerns. It's concerns that we've had to work through with the site that was when it was over at 289. But we're talking for 1 year, and I understand it's an inconvenience, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, I understand, because we had to go through a lot of issues early on. So, but simply, the chief asked, that's why I'm considering it.
Thank you. Any further? Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Madam President. I have comments throughout the whole process with many, many people about this issue. I think that the lack of planning that we see on this particular matter is actually bringing a lot of issues. I think it's not really too many of the issues that's been saying. It's the last minute thing, bringing things last minute to one place to another without planning and dropping the ball at this body to make a decision. That's what make harder to make the decision. We hear a lot of concern on both sides. And I think that's had to be a lesson for us. In front of us, we need to make sure that we plan better, especially when we're talking about quality of life from people. We need to make sure that we really mean that we really want to save family. We need to do better than this. I'm new in this body, but I've seen the pressures coming from all over the place. I want the carnival to be happy, but I also want quality of life for families, because I'm a family member. I have my family. I want them to have fun, but I want to have peace on my city, the city that I pay taxes for. So looking from that perspective, I think that the lack of planning is what's creating this issue. We need to do better than that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Terrio, this is one more time. Okay, quickly.
Yep. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you for indulging me. I agree very much with my at-large colleague about the fact that we do need to make sure that planning starts early. Now, I can't speak to what the city's planning schedule was. Everybody has known that would be an issue. We got this initially before us 2.5 months ago in July at our summer meeting. The fact that action hasn't happened until now, the fact that we got it in July instead of in, say, March or April, that is something I wish that the city planners and staff had been more proactive in and gotten to us sooner. But our meeting schedule from the summer is the reason why we haven't dealt with it until now, because we got in the request to use Riley Plaza, which was the site, in fairness, that they believed they had the best chance of being able to put together an event there, because they thought, even though the Common was the best physically suited site, they figured that they would have the most resistance at that site. So they chose a secondary location that wasn't as objectively good. And they chose Riley Plaza, and ultimately for myself and for the majority of my colleagues, it was determined that that Riley Plaza just gave too many potential traffic and pedestrian issues, even though the site itself wasn't too bad. So we've moved on, but the reason we're at the 11th hour now is really a function of a combination of the schedule that we ourselves as a body keep and the committee schedule and all the rest, and also the fact that, to their credit, the chief of police and the administration have been working to try and salvage something. And I will give them great credit for that regardless of what we decide here tonight, because they have been working to try and make this happen and to come up with something, and they've tried to work around all the issues. And again, credit, but yeah, planning going into next year, regardless of what we do here tonight, planning into next year is something that has to start at an earlier point, and they have to be, and we have to be very cognizant of what resources we're going to have, whether it's 289 or whatever, and what we can put together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further comments? You're moving the question, Councilor Divel?
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we decide this by roll call vote, please.
Okay.
Sure.
3 hands. 1, 2, 3. Great. Okay. So, okay. On Councilor Mador's motion that this be granted by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, are you ready? Okay. Okay, since I like to say it. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble.
No.
Councilor Dominguez.
No.
Councilor Flynn.
No.
Councilor Fury.
Yes.
Councilor Madore.
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilor Milo.
No.
Councilor Peterson.
Yes.
Councilor Sargent.
No.
Councilor Torrio.
Yes.
And Councilor Gerard.
Yes. On the matter of the City Council road closure from October 16th through November 2nd for Washington and Federal Street, we have 11 councilors voting, 6 in the affirmative, 5 in the negative. The matter carries. Further communications from... Oh, sorry, Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. Move for immediate reconsideration. The hope will not prevail.
Councilor Terrell moves for immediate reconsideration and the hopes does not prevail. All those in favor? All those opposed? Opposed. Matter does not carry. Further communications from city officials.
Pursuant to...
Councilor Dibble?
Yes, thank you. We've already approved going out of order to the third carnival event on page 21. Which
No, we were going to go through 20 and then do the
This
two
should be
things
sim-
on
this is
20 because
simple.
this is
Just
part
get
of
it
the
done.
carnival and then go to 21. Communications from city officials.
Pursuant to City Ordinance, Chapter 1, Section 11, Safety Enhancement Zone, Violations and Penalties, the City Council hereby orders that the Safety Enhancement Zone designation dates shall be extended as provided to include Friday, October 26th at 12:01 a.m. through Sunday, October 28th, 2018 at midnight, thereby establishing the dates of the Safety Enhancement Zone from 12:01 a.m. on Friday, October 26th, 2018 to midnight on Friday, November 2nd, 2018.
Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for this to be granted.
Councilor Madore moves that this be granted. Under discussion.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I would like to suspend the rules to allow the Chief of Police to address us in regards to this.
Okay, seeing no objection.
Thank you. As part of the ordinance, it indicates that is generally only 48 hours before October 31st and 48 hours after October 31st for the safety enhanced zone, which actually triples the fines in particular areas for the city ordinance violations. I think we all know at this particular point, and history has shown us that the weekend before Halloween, especially when it falls on a weekday, is busy, probably as busy, if not busier, than Halloween at some points. So I wanted to be able to scale that back to the Friday just prior to, because the 48 hours only actually brought us to Monday at midnight.
Thank you. Any questions, comments for the chief? Seeing none. Okay. On Council Madore's motion that this be granted, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Can we go, Councilor Dibble, can we go out of order now to page 21 to the second item?
Still in order.
So moved. I'm sorry?
Just do the first petition.
Just do the, okay, fine. We'll just do Honeydew Donuts. Okay, so petitions.
Request from Honeydew Donuts located at 138 Canal Street for extended hours of operation to continue to operate from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Sunday.
Hearing ordered October 11th, 2018. Further petitions.
We have a request from Fiesta Shows to hold a carnival from October 19th to October 31st, 2018, located at Federal Street, Washington Street, District Court parking lot.
Council Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for this to be granted.
Under discussion.
Very briefly, just
I'm sorry, Council Madore, you move this be granted. Sorry, I didn't acknowledge that. And sorry, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Just the application for the carnival proposed at the location that we just discussed. And, yeah.
Move roll call vote, please.
I'm sorry?
Move roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote. Sure, and the 3 hands for roll call vote? 3 hands, great, we got roll call vote. Also, we have Councilor Terrell that wanted to speak, and then Councilor Dibble and Councilor Madore. Okay.
Thank you, Madam President. I would move to amend this to remove the district court parking lot because we've already had the discussion about the kid rides being moved to the common with our earlier actions. So I would move that we strike the district court parking lot from this permit.
Seconded by Councilor Dibble. Okay, Councilor Dibble.
I apologize, Madam President. That is exactly what I wanted to raise.
Great.
Thank you.
We're reading each other's minds. We're that close. Councilor Madore.
thank you, Madam President. I would also like to move to strike the, under, please give a description of the nature of the event, to strike the 2 to 3 amusement games, including merry-go-round and crazy bus. The second line.
So I just need a second on the amendment.
Because that would have gone into the district court parking lot.
And then that's seconded by Councilor Peterson. Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none. Okay, so the first amendment is on Councilor Madore's amendment that we remove the, under the description in the permit, that we remove the 2 to 3 amusement games, including merry-go-round and crazy bus, seconded by Councilor Peterson. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. On the First Amendment, Councilor Terrell moved that we amend it to not include, to say it right, exclude the district court parking lot. Seconded by Councilor Dibble. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Okay, and now on Councilor Madore's motion to be granted as amended. All those in favor?
No, roll call vote.
Whoa, roll call vote, that's right, thank you so much. It's 10:40, that's why I forgot. So, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble?
No.
Councilor Dominguez?
No.
Councilor Flynn?
No.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
No.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
No.
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of holding a carnival at Federal Street and Washington Street, not including the district court lot, we have 11 councilors voting, 6 in the affirmative, 5 in the negative. The matter carries. Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for immediate reconsideration in hopes it will not prevail, and then to return to our regular order in the meeting.
Thank you. Councilor Terrell moves that, moves for immediate reconsideration in the hopes it does not prevail. All those in favor? All those opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed. Matter does not prevail. Okay, going back to where we were.
Page 19.
Thank you. Oh, committee reports, yes?
Yes.
Finally. Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem City Council, September 27, 2018. The Committee on Ordinance, Legislative and Legal Affairs, co-posted the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of giving certain streets temporary status: Broad, Downing, Endicott, Hawthorne, Margin, Mount Vernon, Prescott, Summer, Winthrop, and Union.
No, wait, no. Wrong one.
Oh.
Traffic section 42,
ordinance.
17A.
The fines.
Ah, the fine, sorry, grabbed the wrong one, look at that.
It's late, don't
I have to go speed reading again. City of Salem and City Council, September 27, 2018. The Committee on Ordinance, Legislative and Legal Affairs, who's co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of the ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic. Chapter 42, Section 17A, Schedule of Fines, repealing $15 fines and $40 fines on Friday, Saturday, and Sundays during the month of October for violation of resident sticker parking, replacing with $50 fine Monday through Sunday during the month of October. Has considered the matter and recommend the ordinance be made in order that the fine will cover the parking violations, residential parking for either existing or temporary streets for the month of October would be $50.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed, matter carries. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
Briefly, it came in as an ordinance. We need to make it an order because you have to pass it twice in order for it to become effective. If it's an ordinance change, the broader-based discussion of whether or not the fines for any other time during the year for resident sticker parking violations should go up is a discussion for another day, hopefully sometime early next year, get it done early. With respect to Halloween, it just gives it's more consistent, that it's across the board. And, I mean, I wasn't in favor of $50. I thought 40 was enough, but the committee said 50. That's fine with me, if that's what the committee vote was. But it just makes it so on the week, especially on the weekends, we encourage people to use our parking lots, our parking garages. And if we're charging $20 for the first couple hours, up to $30 for the parking garage, and somebody goes on the city's website and can find out the resident sticker parking violations for the month of our $15, it's going to be cheaper if you do illegally park in a spot than it is because for your ticket. This puts a little more, think twice before you park there. And it just, so everyone knows, it also applies to, it doesn't just apply to people with license plates from California and New York and Connecticut. If you're in violation of the resident sticker parking, you don't have your hanger, you don't have your guest pass, you didn't update your pass for your car, that means you're going to get a ticket, and that means you're going to be downstairs arguing why you shouldn't have to pay it because whatever proof that you have that you weren't in violation. So, but this is just for the month of October, and I would suggest, that came out of committee with a positive recommendation. I would encourage everyone to vote for it tonight.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I already did.
Okay, seeing none. On adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? All those opposed? One opposed, matter carries. Further committee reports. Now here's the one, Councilor McCarthy.
Which one's, oh, this
Broad,
one.
Downing,
Yeah, I got that
Endicott,
one.
etc.
Just pick up where you left off. I'll just speed read that one through. City of Salem City Council, September 27, 2018. The Committee on Ordinance, Legislative and Legal Affairs, co-posted the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of giving certain streets temporary status: Broad, Downing, Endicott, Hawthorne, Margin Street, Mount Vernon, Prescott, Summer, Winthrop, and Union as resident sticker from 10/1/18 to 10/31/18 in fines for violations, has considered said matter and would recommend that the order be adopted as amended to include Phelps Street and Ward Street to make the fines $50 Monday through Sunday during the month of October, and the violation for parking prohibitions, towing zones, resident sticker parking.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
Last year, we added Ward Street. The good at-large council brought it up during, the large council to my right, brought it up during the committee meeting to add Ward again. Last year we did it, was one, after he brought it in, I got an email from the parking director if we wanted to include it. The only thing I would add a friendly amendment to this is that there's constantly a street, there's two streets in my ward, and I'll let anyone else, is Beckett Avenue, which is a small little street off of Derby Street, which, because everyone else around it is restricted, they don't, without them being added, and this is something I had a conversation, we have to bring in an ordinance in order to make it permanent. It would be Beckett Avenue and Ford Avenue. Specifically Ford Avenue from Webb to the last house on Fort, right across from the entrance to SESD, where they took all the houses down.
Second.
Because that's just one of those things. Webb Street is resident, Derby Street all the way to the old entrance to the power plant. That just picks up everybody on the other side, just past the old main entrance to the power plant. There's like four houses, I think, left on just after the entrance. So it's the last house on the left before the entrance to SESD. I'll open up the floor. I know there's a couple other ward councils that have some concerns with some streets, but that would be my friendly amendment to this order, would be to add Beckett Avenue and Ford Avenue.
Second that.
CSD, and that was seconded by Councilor Sargent. Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. Just out of committee report, Margin Street had been changed to west side only.
Yes.
So
Wait,
just-
is that? Oh, there it is.
That was changed in committee, so Margin Street would be west side only. The other thing we had passed at last meeting, but isn't in here, and I have to add, is that the streets in question, people receive two guest passes. Thank you.
Okay. Was that, so the guest passes, was that part, is that amending the recommendation?
That's amending it, yeah, because we talked about it we approved it at last meeting, then it went to committee, and I forgot to bring it up in committee. So when it went to committee, that gets erased and goes back to the original order. So 2 guest passes for the streets in question as requested.
Okay, and a second on the amendment, seconded by Councilor Flynn? Okay, and then Councilor McCarthy, and then Councilor Peterson,
Yeah.
did you, I'm sorry, okay, wait. Can I let Councilor Peterson?
Thank you, Madam
Haven't heard
President. No worries. I just wanted, I think you said as requested for the guest passes. I think that's important language because we don't want to necessarily mail them out to everyone, but
Right, they aren't mailed. You
people
have to come down and
specifically
request.
need them.
Okay. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I know it came up in discussion. I don't recall ever formally taking a vote. And let's be 100% honest. 100% honest. There aren't enough parking spots on the streets, on any street, for the residents, never mind guests. And now we're talking about expanding the residential areas for Halloween parking only on streets that want it because they want to protect the people who live there, their ability to park. I'm sorry. Protecting the ability of people who live there to park, plus giving out 2 more guest passes we might as well just give out guest passes to everybody. Because the way the system has just ballooned to the point where we're trying to accommodate everybody, but there isn't enough parking on the streets to accommodate ourselves, never mind our guests or anything else that happens during the month of October with regards to Halloween. So to suggest that we could just give 2 guest pass to everyone who gets a Halloween pass, that just makes it extremely difficult. It makes it extremely difficult to manage, and it makes it extremely difficult for the people who live on those streets. I guess it's one of those things, they come to us and they request for the month of October that they get additional protection from the tourists, but now we have to try to protect them from themselves, because now we're going to allow their guests to park there too. And the whole, it's just gotten to the point where I don't know what we should do. Because there's this talk, the Ward 2 council brought in, she wants recommendations from the Park and Traffic Commission. Every recommendation I've heard from anybody is we give out too many guest passes, period. Because there aren't enough spots on the street. And but I don't remember having a vote on this. I per se do not oppose the idea, but we didn't vote on it. It came up in a discussion, but it was never voted on. So if there wants to be a vote to amend it to allow the 2 guest passes, then it needs to come to a vote before we include it in the...
Exactly. I didn't say we
Councilor
voted.
Sargent, no, no, it's too late. It's too late for, we're not, no, stop. Councilor Madore had her hand raised. You didn't. So, Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. The guest passes, just today I had to give, actually yesterday and today included, I had to be the bearer of bad news to 3 of my constituents about guest visitor or guest passes, one of which spoke about how he has neighbors with guest passes and they use it as a regular resident sticker pass when those passes should only be used for 14 days. We are already going to be very pressured with Halloween parking during the month, knowing that the enforcement officers will have to up their enforcement and to ask them to enforce additional visitor passes. I think that's too much to ask, and there are residents who would like to have a guest pass for their family members but cannot get it because they don't live on a resident-only street. But we just talked about not putting 260 extra cars onto our streets in October with an additional pass for the condo pass holders, and I think this would be in the same vein that we're putting even more pressure on our streets that are already experiencing a lot of pressure. So I can't support adding more visitor passes.
Thank you. Councilor Sargent.
I mean, with all due respect to some of the councilors, we were just talking about giving guest passes to people who don't have resident sticker parking, so they could go park in front of houses that do have resident sticker parking. Now, I'm only asking that the houses that have the temporary resident sticker parking get to have guests. And we just upped the fine to $50. So we got, in the old Italian neighborhood, I was there last year, almost every day. There were plenty of open spaces because there were no guests there. The guests had to park blocks away to come visit their family. They were afraid to park and get a ticket to come visit a relative or a friend. So they parked beyond, over to the area where there was no temporary resident sticker parking, which put an added burden on them. So there were spaces in the neighborhood because normally when you have resident sticker parking, you're allowed to have guests. Any temporary ordinance is supposed to mirror the permanent ordinance. And if you have permanent resident sticker parking, you get 2 guest passes, so you can have guests. Now somebody gets temporary passes, and they're not allowed to have guests for a month, and the guests, if they park in front of the house in an empty space, got a chance of getting a $50 ticket. I mean, please, this is common sense. It's mirroring the ordinance that we already have in place. So that's all I'm asking, is for it to be fair. Thank you.
Thank you. So did anybody second your amendment to add the 2 guest passes?
I did.
I'm sorry, Councilor Flynn, I think you did, and I didn't.
Well, could I add one more thing to it?
Yes.
It's here, we're not mailing people the passes.
Oh, as requested, that's right.
Less than half
Okay.
the people will come down to request them. So now the people that feel like they need them the most will come down to get them. So it probably average less than 1 per household instead of 2. But the people that feel they need them will ask for them. There are some senior citizens with no cars that don't care to have them. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. Since it's already been seconded, it might be too late to do this, but is it possible to split the difference and just have 1 instead of 2?
Would you consider amending to 1 pass?
Well, that's what I'm asking. It would average. Sorry, madam.
I know, it's late.
My point is, it would average 1. It might average less than 1.
Yeah, so.
You might have one family that, but the families aren't going to go give them to each other. You know what I mean? If you have 1 and you don't need it, and I have 1 and I need 2, then it'll be a problem. So I'm just asking for 2 for the people who feel they need it. And I believe less than half the people will come down and ask for them. So we'll still be in better shape than the neighborhoods that have full-time resident sticker parking. And we haven't tried this before. Last year, that was the biggest complaint I got about there, was people couldn't have company over without running into trouble. So let's just treat resident sticker parking as it is, and the compromise is to ask for them as requested, rather than just mail them to them.
Can I ask a point of clarification with the guest passes quickly before I fall asleep?
Yeah.
Does it say it says the address? I know they're the ones that are hanging, but do they say, like when I lived in Somerville, like it specifically said that my guest pass was to my resident?
They said
the
police department won't allow that. They don't want someone to know where somebody lives just by looking at the sticker on their car. So
Okay, so if you have a guest pass, then how would you, if you, like the example that we were just discussing, so if, let's say Councilor Peterson has one, you actually need two, you could borrow one of hers, correct? Like, it wouldn't specifically say Councilor Peterson's address and not
Right,
your,
exactly.
like, I think your mom or your mother-in-law. Right?
Yeah. it
Am I
wouldn't say any
understanding
number.
that?
Same way with the permanent guest pass, and your guest pass has a number. It
Okay.
doesn't have an address on it,
Okay.
so.
But if you, so just to clarify, so if I borrowed a guest pass to come over and Councilor Peterson borrowed a guest pass to come over, if she had someone to borrow from and I had someone to borrow from, we could still stop by the same house, we would just have borrowed two different passes, if it was one guest pass per household.
Yeah, if you get
Right.
one, but you have to know each other, be home, borrow somebody's pass.
So it builds community then.
This way here, like the permanent residents to Copacan, you get two passes if you, but they get it automatically.
Okay.
They have to come, but they all have two. This is just two if you happen to come down and ask for it. So that'll average one or less. And I think the same thing will be accomplished.
Okay, so what do we want to
Could we please do it that way? Can we try this?
do? Can we just get along?
Well,
Okay, so Councilor Peterson, did you make a formal amendment to one guest pass?
Thank you, Madam President. I mean, if we've never tried this before, I mean, that would be a friendly amendment. I would suggest is why jump from 0 to 2? Why not try 0 to 1? If you're thinking it's going to be 1 or less anyway, I mean, that might ease the congestion of neighborhoods that is the concern.
So are you making a formal amendment?
Yes.
So, okay.
But if it's accepted to the amendment, if my amendment is accepted to that amendment.
Would anybody second an amendment to an
please don't.
amendment to? Come on back up, Councilor Sargent.
Please, thank you. I'm just talking about a neighborhood I know from, I've lived there since and been there since I've been 18 every day. I got relatives there. I know the neighborhood better than anybody here. And I'm just asking, I know there's a few other streets that aren't in that neighborhood, but I feel it's the way to go. Two as requested is the compromise versus giving everybody two in the mail. So, if,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep. Okay, Councilor McCarthy.
No, I'm good, thank you.
You're good. Okay. So we don't have a second on the friendly amendment to the amendment to one guest pass. So we're going to stick to two guest passes as requested. Seconded by Councilor Flynn. Yes? Are we clear? Okay.
So on the amendment.
I'm sorry?
So on the amendment first.
On the amendment. Okay, so on the amendment for two guest passes as requested by Councilor Sargent, seconded by Councilor Flynn. All those in favor? All those opposed? Opposed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I think wait. All those in favor? Wait, favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so two guest passes as amended.
Thank you.
Okay, that
Thank you, Madam
passes.
President. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, now, on adoption of the recommendation as amended. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Okay, further committee reports.
Last one.
Councilor McCarthy.
Last one.
This is 7 Crombie. Oh, okay. You looked at me for a second.
Well, City of Salem City Council, September 27, 2018, the Committee on Legislative Affairs composed of Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of the residents in the following addresses: 7 Crombie Street, 11 Church Street, 281 Essex Street, 51 Lafayette Street, 50 St. Peter Street, Townhouse Square condos, and 141 Washington Street. Required to purchase passes either at the garages shall be granted 1 month parking pass, allowing them to park upon the street. Granted temporary resident only parking status between 10/1/18 and 10/31/18, either by ordinance or by order. Has considered said matter and recommend, we had another meeting on it earlier tonight. And so the recommendation was, as amended, Councilor Madore brought in some language. She worked very diligently on this on behalf, and I'm glad we didn't give them temporary resident parking on the streets, because they would have been entitled to guest passes too, and God knows we had plenty of places to park. But since we don't have places for people to park who have pass holding for the garage, and during the month of October they seem to be shut out, the compromise was, as per the amendment, was to, basically, we're going to section off the roof of the garage for up to a maximum of 176 parking spots. And of the condo associations that were just referenced in my speed reading, I believe there's 276 pass holders, of which some of them don't own cars. So the thought is, at most, they will need the roof of the garage. So we're limiting it to 176 spots at a cost of $125 for the month. And they will be given some extra sort of decal or something that will delineate the fact that they have paid the extra $125 on top of whatever their annual fee is for the garage, and that will provide them with a spot on the roof of the Museum Place Mall garage, of which they will not have to worry when they leave during the month of October to find a spot. It seemed like we went back and forth. We didn't want to overburden the streets in and around the downtown and the residential areas that have the orange signs now, or soon to have the orange signs, nor any of the other residential streets. So this seemed, and not everyone's going to take advantage of it. Some people are going to, you know, curtail their schedules because they already spend a lot of money to buy their condo documents to buy these passes that entitles them to a spot in the garage when available. But this compromise was that we'll try it, see how it works. It seems it may, and it's isolated in the fact that it's a little easier to control because it's just the roof of the garage, or if it only ends up that we only sell 50 or 100 of these things, we'll section off one part of the roof of the garage, and so that way they will have their spots for the month of October. And I want to thank the Ward 2 Council for working really hard, because there were some other suggestions coming out of committee that we allow parking in the Church Street lot during the week, but the computer system for the kiosk wouldn't allow them to recognize the license plates during the week, because we already asked the computer to do two other things that would overburden the computer, so it wouldn't work. So we tried a bunch of different things, but this seemed to be the one that worked, trying to help people, help the residents. I mean, unfortunately, the price of parking downtown, especially during the month of October, especially in the garage, is at a premium. But it seemed fair because it represents, currently we have a handful of spots in each garage that it costs $1,500 a year for a reserve spot. There's I don't know, the year before they had a lottery. I don't know how many people applied for it this year. But there are guaranteed spots in the garage. So this just increases the guaranteed spots just for the month of October, specifically for the condo owners that are required to buy passes.
Okay. Any further? Oh, no, wait, that was the report, right? Wait, did we already approve the report?
I hope so.
I already forgot. You were talking so long, I forgot.
We accepted this.
Did we approve the report?
No.
Okay, so on acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed, matter carries. Okay, on adoption of the recommendation, any further discussion? Councilor Sargent?
Thank you. I believe this was a good compromise where we're giving guest passes to people to go into streets kind of far away from them or down the street, which, to clarify, the guest passes wouldn't allow other guest passes, so it wouldn't have been permanent or even temporary. It would have been guest passes. And the other thing is similar to what I was bringing up, not everybody is going to apply for this, so if they do, we're in trouble, but I don't think it's going to work out that way. And I'm willing to support it and see how it works out to take some of the pressure off these people during the month of October. So thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on adoption of the recommendation? All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. I have to take a time out for a second to ask a question, because I may have screwed up on the last one that I think I forgot about the amendment for the west side only of Margin and, does it matter? And
We
Beckett
adopted
and
it.
Fort, huh?
We adopted it as amended.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure, because I know that I was focused on the guest pass amendment. I wasn't.
Nope.
Okay, so we're good. Oh, good, I didn't mess up. Great. Okay. So.
Page
now-
21.
Page 21, thank you. Further petitions.
We have a list of public guides.
Do we read
Councilor
them?
McCarthy.
No?
I move that they be granted.
Councilor McCarthy moves that these be granted. Any discussion?
No discussion.
No discussion on Councilor McCarthy's motion that these be granted. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have 2 Tag Day license applications.
Councilman McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that these be referred to the Committee on License, Orders, and Legal Affairs.
Councilman McCarthy moves that these be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, Licenses, and Legal Affairs. No discussion, I'm assuming. On Councilman McCarthy's motion that these be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, Licenses, and Legal Affairs. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. You guys are getting very creative with raising your hands now. I feel like it's so late. Sorry, I just thought I'd point that out. Further petitions.
We have 7 claims.
Councilman McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that these matters be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs.
Councilman McCarthy moves that these be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs. Seeing no discussion on Councilman McCarthy's motion. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Unfinished business. This is short-term rentals.
You want to start from 23?
Were we gonna go to, we were originally talking about,
23.
oh, no, what?
6.
We were talking earlier about going to 26.
Which
Oh,
one?
right, that was one-way streets. I don't know why we were talking about that now.
Okay.
Okay, should we just stay?
It's just in order.
All right.
Stay.
Yep. We have a
Unfinished
sec-
business.
Okay. We have a second passage for an ordinance allowing short-term rentals in Salem. Summary of ordinance below.
Waiving the reading.
Waive the reading.
Thank you. Okay, it ends in 25. Council McCarthy.
Move for adoption for second and final passage.
Council McCarthy moves for adoption for second and final passage. Under discussion.
No discussion.
Seeing no discussion. On Council McCarthy's motion for adoption for second and final passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have a second passage for an ordinance to amend the ordinance to set fines for violation of short-term rentals ordinance in the city of Salem.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption for second and final passage.
Council McCarthy moves for adoption for second and final passage. Under discussion.
No discussion.
Seeing no discussion on Council McCarthy's motion for adoption for second and final passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have a second passage of an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 10, one-way streets.
Councilman Dorr.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption for second and final passage.
Councilman Dorr moves for adoption for second and final passage. Any discussion?
No discussion.
Seeing no discussion on Councilman Dorr's motion for adoption for second and final passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have for a second passage, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 11, bus stops, and Section 56, parking meter zones established on Washington Street.
Councilman Dorr.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption for second and final passage.
Councilman Dorr moves for adoption for second and final passage. Any discussion?
No discussion.
Seeing no discussion on Councilman Dorr's motion for adoption for second and final passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have a second passage of an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 57A, parking time limited, unmetered zones for Loring Ave.
Councilor Terrio.
I'll actually yield this final one to Councilor Dibble.
Councilor Dibble.
Because that one is...
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to handle this in Ward 7. Thank you, Ward 5 Councilor. I move for adoption and second final passage.
Councilor Dibble moves for adoption for second and final passage. Any discussion?
No.
No. Okay. On Councilor Dibble's motion for adoption for second and final passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We had second passage for an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 11, bus stops on Congress Street.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President.
Yeah.
Held for a second and final passage until next meeting. Error by
Salem Evening News.
Ooh.
Ooh.
It's all his fault.
Luca.
It was not published.
Held for second and final passage until next meeting. Error by Salem Evening News. S-E-N. I can think of a couple acronyms for that, but I'll leave them alone for right now.
So held for second and final passage. I don't think do we have to vote on it? No. Okay, great. Councilor Fury.
Motion to adjourn, Madam President.
Councilor Fury motions to adjourn. See you all at the parade next week. Yes. Have a good